April 26th meeting of the Tiverton Town Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We had several flags tonight. Thanks, Chris and Joe. Joan?
Councilor Burke,
Present.
Councilor Edwards,
Here.
Councilor Cook,
Here.
Councilor Vieira,
Here.
Councilor Perry,
President.
Councilor DiMederos.
Present.
Councilor Janik is absent.
Proclamation Fair Housing Month in Tiverton, April 2021. I'll read the proclamation. Whereas this April is the 53rd anniversary of the Fair Housing Act, in which U.S. law was established that prohibited discrimination in housing, and HUD Secretary Marsha L. Fudge states that Fair Housing Month is a time to reconnect our nation's obligation to ensure that everyone has equal access to safe, affordable housing. And whereas the town of Tiverton, as a grantee of the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG funds, is obligated by the CDBG program to prepare and implement a plan of action to affirmatively further fair housing for each CBG year. And whereas the town of Tiverton has a longstanding history of supporting efforts to affirmatively further fair housing, and whereas the town of Tiverton acknowledges and supports the Housing Hotline and the Community Housing Resource Boards work with the people of the community to resolve housing concerns and find warmth and shelter in whichever way one may seek. And whereas the global pandemic has increased the number of individuals and families experience the overwhelming stress of housing insecurity, and whereas each person has the right to a home, to a safe and healthy retreat, free from discrimination. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Denise DiMederos, Town Council President of the Town of Tiverton in the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, do hereby proclaim April 2021 as Fair Housing Month in the town of Tiverton, and call upon all residents to make a concerted effort to give aid to those who are seeking clean, and pleasant surroundings for their lives. In witness wherefore, I have hereon to set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Tiverton to be affixed to this day of April in the year 2021. Thank you, everyone.
Do you need approval of that?
Nope.
Can I suggest one thing?
Yes.
Strike and Providence Plantations, because that's no longer part of the
Oh, you're
state's
right.
name.
You're right. I forget about that.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thank you. Consent agenda. A, approval of town council minutes, April 10th, 2021, special session, April 12th, 2021, regular session, April 19th, 2021, special session, April 19th, 2021, executive session. B, acknowledge receipt of minutes from boards of commissions and committees. 1, Historic Preservation Advisory Board 1, Recreation and Beach Commission 3, Litter Committee 1, Cemetery Commission 1. Acknowledge receipts of reports. Treasurer Charette, March 2021 Budget and Revenue Reports. The Cassett Hill Cemetery Annual 2020 Report. Acknowledge receipts of correspondence to the town of Westerly, resolution in opposition to Rhode Island 2021 gun control legislation. Town of Westerly, resolution in opposition of S-0259 and H6067, an act relating to aeronautics. Town of Gloucester, resolution in opposition to Rhode Island 2021 gun control legislation. And that completes the consent agenda. Does anyone want to take anything off the consent agenda? I would like to take off 4C1. And that, yes, Bill?
I wasn't here for the April 19th meeting. Can I still vote or do I have to?
They should have
Abstain from
had
that?
you abstaining. It should have said, Counselor Vieira abstaining. So
Absent.
we'll fix that.
I'll make
Abstaining
a
for the
motion.
fact- Go ahead.
I'll make a motion, we accept the remaining consent agenda except for C1.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor, Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
yes,
Counselor Vieira,
Yes,
Counselor Perry,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. 4C1, that would be me. Just bear with me for a sec. All right, I went through the budget to actual. And what I do this time of year is I look at the amount that hasn't been expended. And now we're 8 months into the budget and try to figure out if we can spend this because we actually have we have taxed the taxpayers for this money. The first thing is the street light purchase. Chris, there's a balance of 57,000. We haven't spent any of that money. I know I'm probably catching you off guard, but if you can think of why that's there. Chris, you're on mute.
So I'll need to talk to Denise because I believe part of that agreement we had with Prism was that we did a purchase over a number of years, and I don't know if that's a one-time annual payment. Because.
Yeah, and it might be that. I just noticed that's there and I just don't want it to be overlooked.
I'll question her about that this week.
Thank you.
What else you got? Anything else on this?
Yep, on this page, the town clerk's office, we codified the town code. And we put 15,000 in, we have not spent any money. And if you look at legal services on the same page, zoning code review and rewrite, 15,000. So there's $30,000 right now that we can spend on recodification, and God only knows we have a lot of that to do.
Yes, we do.
So what I'm asking is between Joan and Mike, we can try to get some stuff done so
Okay,
that we can spend this 30,000.
yep.
Does that sound okay, guys?
what page
Already,
is,
What, Joan?
I've already submitted ordinances for codification, and I just haven't had them issue the supplement yet.
Okay.
So.
No, I know we have had discussion on this and you have, which I think is a very good job. You found some ordinances and some things that haven't been recodified, and you've pointed that out, and I know you're working on this. I just wanted you to keep in mind, we do have $30,000 in this account. So if we can work on that and try to get that done, because I know it's a great concern to a lot of people that a lot of our zoning ordinance needs to either be redone or codified. So.
Yep.
Do we have something with a form-based code that needed to be done as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to bring this up, and I'm not criticizing
No,
anyone,
I got it.
but at this point, it's really smart that we look at these accounts and try to spend it. And there's a lot of, there's other accounts that have balances, but I'm not really
Denise,
concerned about that. Yes.
just to go back to streetlights, I know Chris is going to talk to Denise Surratt, but also part of that is to make sure we've actually gotten our bills from
Yeah.
National Grid,
Yep.
because we
And I
were
just-
at one point a full year behind.
Right, and I realize that, Jay, and that's why I'm bringing it up now, so that the next budget season, we don't get a huge bill, and
Right?
this money has already gone into the general fund, and it's not available to us.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do because we're at 75% of the year.
Now, the town administrator, there's some zero accounts, but We have taken care of that in our next budget. There's automobile expenses and expense account. And Chris has, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but said that you don't need these as budget items.
No, I don't. We took these out in my thing.
Right. So, and let me just look. Oh, the medical physicals, no.
No, because he is doing.
Personal and protective gear, I think we've talked about this. There's still $10,000 in that account. I know that Chief Ramos is somewhere in the attendees,
He is, hang on.
and he said he was gonna try to make sure, because he's asked for more next year.
Hang on.
I'm sorry, guys, just bear with me for a couple more minutes. I just want to, I just don't want people to be taxed for these items and they go back in the general fund. And then we're asking for a repeat of that next year. Bruce, you here?
Bruce, you're muted.
Yep, I'm here.
Bruce, we've had like so many budget discussions recently that I don't really remember, but I think we've talked about this. That the personal and protective gear, we still have 10,000 in that account. I would assume
Okay,
you're
yeah,
gonna
that's-
spend that.
No, that's not true. Let me see. I'm trying to pull it up real quick. We did, I believe the last time we talked, or, you know, a couple times ago, but I did have to get some gear for some of the gear that was expiring this year.
Yeah, I remember you said that, and maybe the bills haven't caught up with this yet. But I just want to make sure you take full advantage and spend this 10,000.
I appreciate that. Right now, the balance on that line is $1,749, and I do need to buy some.
Okay, so I have a balance of 10,000.
Yeah, but keep in mind, this document is 3 weeks old.
Right, and that's why I'm bringing it up.
Right.
Okay. So it's better. So you have been spending it, because I know we gave you an amount for next year also. So
Yep,
I just want to
absolutely.
make sure that we're spending this money on this gear, because the taxpayers did approve this, so
Yep.
we need to do that. Okay,
Same thing on the physicals, Bruce. Medical physicals.
Yeah, that was an account that we transferred money out of, because remember, I was telling you that
That's right, yep.
we still had money from last year,
mm-hmm,
and all the physicals were done. But that's certainly something that needs to stay in the budget for next year. But we were able to use money from last year's budget to finish up the physicals for this year.
And that's what you're using for your apparatus maintenance, because you're low on that.
yes,
I think that's what we moved it.
I think so too.
Either that or telephones, one of the two.
Okay.
Our telephone accounts are really high.
It's ridiculous.
I know.
So, not to get off topic of the PPE line account, but the telephones, they've gone up twice in the past 18 months. They've almost doubled. So I think every month it's like $2,700 for the lines. And that's not just for telephones for the offices. That's our radio system uses the telephone lines to work, and they got us over a barrel. We can't do anything about it. I've called, Captain Comito has called, tried to talk to him, and I've called, tried to talk to him, and explain to me why this went up. That's what it is. It just went up.
Now, who do we get our telephones through?
That's Verizon, right?
Okay,
Those are Verizon lines. We got telephones through Cox, but those
Yeah,
are Verizon.
those are Verizon lines.
And we were working on eliminating a couple of those lines by putting a fiber line from the tower over, but I don't know if we've completed that yet.
We have that. That's actually going to save us $700 or $800 a month, I think.
Yep.
So.
All right. So, I'm trying to get through this quickly. On page 7, transfer station recycling plan study. We still have 18,000 in that account. Are we gonna use that?
So I believe we are. This is part of the recycling center and the landfill closure. It's a combined, Rick's working with PAR on trying to get these plans all squared away. We don't know which portion is gonna go for the recycling and which part's gonna go for the landfill closure. We needed some seed money up front to get this permit completed. And I think that that's the lion's share. I'll talk to Rick about that, but I'm pretty sure that most of that money is gonna go.
Perfect. All right, and I'm not, and I want to reiterate, I'm not criticizing
No,
anyone.
I get it.
I just want to bring this to people's attention so that we spend it and we don't have to ask for it next year.
Yep.
Building maintenance for senior citizens on page 8. So she was given 7,000. She still has a remaining balance of 5,000. Later on in the agenda, we're going to talk about some stuff that she has done to the building and received a grant for it. Is she
Correct.
using this money also for that?
I believe she is, yes.
Okay, because she's asking for another transfer, I believe, of 2,000. And I just want to make sure she knows that she still has 5,200 in this account.
Yep.
All right,
What about the ones up above it, Denise?
which ones, Jay?
Supplies, miscellaneous, agency
Yeah.
dues and development.
Yeah, I looked at some of these and I just, I think the reason for this is she's not open.
Right.
Well, I understand that, but
So it might be something that she may want to use before July
Yep, I'll talk to her about it.
yeah, if we can for,
and maybe ask
So-
for less next year if she has this remaining and she can buy the supplies for next year out of this account.
So we also talked earlier on in the budget season. I know we have this bus
Mm,
that we were talking about maybe for recreation of doing that online a portal for people to register online, that this would be the funding source that we would probably go to
Yep.
to defend it.
Mhm.
So I'll talk to Sue about that and I'll talk to Janet about it.
And I mean, if I could just put a general appeal to the department heads,
Yep.
I'm just picking up the major ones that have 0
Okay.
and maybe less than 2%, but if the department heads could look through their budget and spend as much as they can out of this money that's already been allocated.
You mean I have to say yes now?
Well, I don't know, Chris, because I'm looking at other accounts that are less than 50% spent,
I
so.
know, we
and I'm
have
not-
been, I will say they've been pretty frugal and believe it or not, whatever, we don't spend, I know we didn't want to do this, but some of the money may go back to the general fund.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine, but if we can save, if we can save what we're asking for next year,
Yep, no, I agree, that's good we'll try to figure this out in the next couple of days, as to what we do and don't need and what we can actually pre-fund for next year. So,
thanks.
and of course, at this point, we are now in the year compared to last year, we're a hell of a lot better off.
Right,
yeah,
right. And I mean, we did this a couple of years ago where we noticed that accounts were high and we just said, buy all the supplies you can right now, even if you could, keep it
Yep.
next year, and then maybe reduce some of our supplies for next year based on what we haven't spent this year.
they're
All right,
gonna be
thank you.
shocked when I say yes, so.
All right, thank you for bearing with me.
Madam President,
Yes.
Donna had her hand up and then I have a
Oh, I'm
question.
sorry, Donna, go ahead.
Yeah, there's maybe we should really look at this before we start okaying anything. I noticed that the tree commission didn't spend their $500, and I mean, there's a lot of that going on in here. I was just wondering if maybe a resolve to just roll it over back into their accounts, and then you just spend the money you already tax people on.
I don't think you can
rather than bring
actually,
new money.
we've discussed this before, and the policy from past counselors, if you don't spend it, you don't get it next year.
You actually have to have a bill for it, and I think
Right.
those grant agencies will send us a bill.
Well, we
We've
did,
had-
if you
we-
notice, the grants have all been pretty much taken.
And I'll double check with the commissions just to make sure.
Yeah, and there was one year that people weren't taking it, and we just said, well, we're gonna zero you out on the next budget, because if you didn't really need it, then we're not gonna tax people for it.
All right.
Yeah,
So
the
Donna-
same with the recycling commission, they didn't spend their money either, so that's
Yeah, and maybe when we
$650.
do the final budget, we need to approve the final budget on Wednesday or whenever we're doing it. We need to look at this, and if they haven't spent it, well, then I don't mean to be mean, but you obviously don't need it if you haven't pulled it out.
Okay.
Right.
All right, I'd like to make a
Madam
motion.
President,
Yes. Sorry,
Um,
Mike.
that's okay. Just one cautionary note on that is there are maybe some things, and you've picked up on some of them, that may, like a licensing fee for software or something like that, that only gets paid once a year, may get paid in May, those types of things. I just want to know, our council contingency fund
It's way
shows
up.
way up, but we've already earmarked some of that, correct?
Yeah, and you also have to keep in mind that I've been concerned about this in the past, but the treasurer, the salary increases and everything is in there. She doesn't pull from there until she runs out of the money she has in the accounts.
Yep.
So we did kind of know that some of that money is in there for pay raises and all of that. So at this point, that's really not accurate yet. But like, she'll spend all the account money for salary and then pull it out as she needs it.
So
Yeah, I just wanted that noted.
So I do have 3 directors that have not been evaluated to be put before you, and those will be retroactive. for the
Right, and
year.
it comes
So-
out of there.
Right, that'll all come out of there.
It's just really funny because any of the new councils will notice that within the next few months, that will start decreasing.
Yep.
Because she's pulling out of there for raises and contracts and that kind of thing. Jay?
Yeah, I'm just going to make one comment. I'm still sort of in budget mode. In the back of this thing, you'll see the revenue to actual
Mhm,
estimates. Yep.
mhm.
So I would recommend that everybody pay attention to percent collected. So when we start thinking about our version of what the revenue is going to be, it might flavor your opinion.
What, yeah, all right,
It certainly will mine.
okay. Anything else on this line item? I'd like to I'll make the motion since I pulled it. I'd like to make a motion to approve C1.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Joe, I'll give it to you. You've been really quiet, so I'll give it to you. Motion's been
gee,
made,
thanks.
which is very odd normal for you, Joe. So, motion's been made in second. All those in favor, Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
Yes.
Counselor Vieira,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. Moving on. Is there any public comments this evening? We have 10 people in the attendees. Do any of them wish to comment? You can raise your hand. We can see you.
If you're in the attendee room and you'd like to speak, please raise your hand.
Okay, and we've received no correspondence.
No correspondence was received.
Okay, I looked at my emails today to make sure and I haven't seen anything. 6, public hearings advertised. Rosanna Ortez, 12 Point Road Drive, request approval of sound variance for wedding on May 15th, 2021, from 4 PM to 10 PM, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Is Rosanna in the audience? If you've all noticed, we're having a lot of weddings in town this year.
There we are.
So
that's because of Bill with his barbecues. He wants to go to all these barbecues.
He wants to get invited.
There's going to be
All
a
right,
baby boom.
So I don't have a Rosanna. Are there any other names on the application?
Mark Avery and Rosanna Ortez.
Mhm.
I don't see either one. All right, so I reviewed it. I have no questions that are within this, the sound ordinance. Does anyone have any questions?
It's an outdoor wedding for a great couple.
Yeah, I know. Did you see that? I think all the couples are gray. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one yet that says it isn't.
They
I
like
thought that was
themselves,
funny.
that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. I really like that. So they're gonna have a tent. I imagine that this has been reviewed by the police chief and the fire chief.
Bruce?
No, if, excuse me, if it's on private property, we're all set. We will certainly go and inspect it if they would want to, but
So we don't have to inspect it if it's on private property, if it's over such amount of people?
I'm pretty sure that's the way it is.
Yeah, I don't
mean, if they're
remember. I
charging
know.
money, you know, if they were charging money for or something like that for an event on the private property, I think that changes things up a little bit, but.
All right, thank you for clarifying that, because I know that I've been part of singing out where we've had to have people come, we've had to have our tents inspected, and I wasn't sure that if that was the same for private properties.
I'm 95% sure on that. I'm gonna check on that tomorrow. If it is different, I'll shoot out an email to everybody, but I believe that's the way it is now.
Yeah. And really, if, and I doubt it, but if you do have to inspect it, meeting all legal requirements is part of our motion. So
Yeah,
you just have to tell Joan and make sure that that gets done.
Yep.
Any other
Okay.
questions?
Because it's a public hearing, do we have to continue to ask?
Yep, I'm about ready. I'd like to open the public hearing. If anyone has any of the attendees have anything to contribute, please raise your hand. And Chris, there's a number that people can call.
Yep, if anybody's watching this on YouTube videos live, you can call in at 877-853-5247. You'll need the meeting number, which is 831-1015-8669, and a passcode of 560638. Again, it's 877-853-5247 as a phone number. 831-1015-8669 is the meeting ID number, and the passcode is 560638. And if there's anybody in the attendee room who would like to speak about this in a public hearing, please raise your hand. And all this information is on the posted council agenda, so if you didn't quite get it and you have the posting in front of you, it's item 1, 877-853-5247. The meeting number is 831-1015-8669. Passcode is 560638. And again, anybody in the attendee room who would like to speak, please raise your hand. Give it one more minute, Madam President, and we can probably close the public hearing.
Okay. Okay, all right. At this point, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Come here.
So moved.
So the
Motion to
Go ahead.
grant the variance for the wedding at 12 Point View Drive on May the 15th, 2021.
4 p.m. to 10 p.m., subject to meeting all
Yeah,
legal
All
requirements.
legal requirements, yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give it to Bill. Donna, he was ahead of you. Motion's been made by Councilor Perry, seconded by Councilor Vieira. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes,
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Unanimous. Appointments and resignations. Recycling Landfill Committee, 5 members, 2 at 3-year, 2 at 2-year, and 1 at 1 year. There's 4 vacancies. The applicant is Richard Guimon, 37 Neck Road. He is a reappointment to expire 4/15/2024. I'd like to entertain a motion to waive our policy and appoint this evening.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Motion's been made by Councilor Perry, seconded by Councilor Vieira. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
yes,
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Richard Guimon, 37 Neck Road, to the Recycling Landfill Committee for a term that expires on 4/15/2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Who seconded?
Jay.
Jay Edwards.
Motion's been made by Councilor Perry, seconded by Councilor Edwards. I'd like to thank Richard. He's on several committees. He's very dedicated to this town. He's been one of our best volunteers. And
Yes.
thank him for reapplying for this position. All those in favor, Jay Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
yes,
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Conservation Committee, a 7-member board. Oh, I'd like to also ask the audience, if you see we have vacancies on this committee, it's a very important committee right now, the Recycling Landfill Committee, while we're making plans to close the landfill and to open a recycle center. And I'm just urging anyone who's out there who would like to join this committee to please do so. Conservation Committee, 7-member board, 3-year term, 2 vacancies. Once again, Richard Guimon, 37 Neck Road, request reappointment to expire 4/15/2024. I'd like to entertain a motion to waive our policy and appoint this evening.
so moved,
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Vieira, seconded by, I'm sorry, you can't see me anymore. Oh, here I am.
Councilor Perry.
Seconded by Councilor Perry. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
yes,
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. I'd like to entertain a motion for Richard Guimon, 37 Neck Road, request reappointment to expire 4/15/2024.
So moved.
so moved,
A motion's been made by Councilor Edwards. I imagine Councilor Vieira seconded. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
yes,
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Once again, thank you, Richard, for your dedication. Cemetery Commission, 5-member board, 3-year term, 2 vacancies. Ava Duclos, 75 Lewis Avenue. She is another reappointment to expire 4/15/2024. I'd like to entertain a motion to waive our policy and appoint tonight.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to hold off on pointing tonight because I was told there's someone else who's interested, but they didn't get their paperwork in on time. And I think they would be an asset to the committee.
Okay, there are 2 vacancies, Joe, so that'll be perfect. So, I mean, I think that's to my point.
I don't see how there's 2 vacancies. We have,
It's a
5
5-member
people on-
board and 3-year
Yeah,
term.
we have-
Go
we
ahead.
have 5 on there now with only 1 renewal, which is her.
Well, the town clerk will have to review that then. I know that Jeannie went through all of this.
Yeah.
Madam President, since there's only like 1 or 2 applicants for each one of these to fill 1 or 2 vacancies, can we just waive our policy for the rest of these?
I prefer not.
No, I prefer not to. I think it's
All right.
best that we go through every one.
Try to save time.
So as far as the cemetery commission, do I have a motion? Joe Perry made a motion to table this until the next meeting so that we can figure out how many vacancies we have. And if there's another applicant that hasn't put their name in, are you all in agreement?
Yeah, Madam President, I see what Joe sees. The next one is to come off. The next opening would be next year at this time.
So there is
Yeah.
one vacancy then.
Yeah, there's only one.
Now, in the past, if people haven't met the deadline, we've still appointed, but if it's the council's pleasure to table this until the next meeting, as Councilor Perry has asked us to and made a motion to, do I have a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay, so motion's been made by Councilor Perry, seconded by Councilor Edwards to table the cemetery commission appointment until the next meeting, which is in May. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes,
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
thank you.
Recreation Committee, seven-member board, 3-year term, 1 vacancy. Chris Romelon, 73 High Hill Road, request reappointment to expire 4/15/2024. Chris has spent a lot of time on this committee, was chairman for many, many years. He has been an asset to this committee. I just thought I'd add that. I'd like to entertain a motion to waive our policy and we appoint tonight.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Someone second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Councilor Perry,
Somebody's got to do it.
second. Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
all those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes,
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Like to entertain a motion to appoint Chris Romelad to the Recreation Committee, 73 High Hill Road. We request reappointment to expire 4/15/2024.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made by Councilor Perry, seconded by Councilor Edwards. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes,
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Art Council, a 5-member board, 3 2-year terms and 2 1-year terms. Peter Bramante, 3804 Main Road, requests reappointment to expire 4/15/2023. And James W. Pelletier, 104 Bonniefield Drive, requests reappointment to expire 4/15/2022. I'd like to entertain a motion to waive our policy and appoint this evening.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Vieira, seconded by Councilor Perry. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes,
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. I think we can do these together unless anybody has any opposition. I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Peter Barantes, 3804 Main Road, to reappointment to the Arts Council to expire 4/15/2023, and James W. Pelletier, 104 Bonniefield Drive, reappointment to expire 4/15/2022.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Vieira, seconded by Councilor Perry. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes,
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Final planning board, 9-member board, 3-year term, 1 vacancy. Richard Dick Taylor, 309 Holly Circle, request appointment to expire 7/15/2023.
Madam President,
Counselor Burke,
I'd like to make a motion that we table this to either the first or second meeting in May at your discretion, for a couple reasons. One, we're in the process of looking for a new building official and a new building clerk. I know the town administrator is working with the planner around looking at the whole planning and building functions. And as well, this is also a new appointment. So I'd like to give some opportunity for other possible applicants. And then finally, our planning board liaison, unfortunately and unexpectedly, cannot be here tonight. And I think it would behoove us to have her with us.
and also, to Mike's point, we are doing that ordinance for the planning board. And I think it would be wise for us to table this. And I'll try to put it on either the first meeting in May or the last meeting in May. Do I have a second to Councilor Burke's motion?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made by Councilor Burke to table the planning board appointment until May, either the first or second meeting, seconded by Councilor Edwards. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you, everyone. General business. Kayla Kudo, Salt, Cycle Studios request to use Grinnell's Beach. Chris, would you like to take this?
Hang on, I'm gonna let her in.
Yeah.
Kayla?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Kayla.
Hi.
So Kayla, you are asking to use Grinnell's Beach Pavilion for a fitness class,
Yes,
and you're asking to do it on Fridays, 5 to 7.
5 to 7 through May 21st.
I have some concerns, quite frankly, with this. Friday nights from 5 to 7, I don't know if any of the counselors or any of the public go by Grinnell's, but there's a lot of the general public on the beach enjoying the sunsets and Grinnell's Beach, and that's the reason why we put the pavilion there. We have not ever, as of this point, let a private organization use the beach. We have had several conversations about town-run events there, which the whole public is invited to, but we still haven't really have made any policy regarding that yet. But I think this is going to open the door for many other businesses. And I think this is really prime time at the beach where our citizens go down there, take walks, enjoy the pavilion. And I'm not quite sure that I think this is a good idea. Does anyone else have anything to say? Councilor Perry?
Yeah, Madam President, I had also was looking into this. I had talked to the solicitor. I believe when they obtained the grant money for the beach, there were some stipulations about open space. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Mike was going to look into that and get back to me. He was supposed to talk to the former solicitor, Tony DeSisto, who had worked on that back then. And I was just wondering if Mike happened to get any feedback on that that would be helpful tonight.
The town administrator did provide me a copy of the original grant. I think that was in play here. I did not talk to Mr. DeSisto, though we've been playing phone tag on that issue. I know Chris and I went over the agreement a little bit, and Chris may have some more to educate the community, the council, as to what the agreement says and what the restrictions may be.
So I did reach out to DEM because I was unaware of the restrictions on that particular property because of the grant. And DEM's position is no matter what is done at that beach, it has to be open to the public for all pieces. So you would have to open your cycling classes up for the public to do. But it does create a real concern because it's not envisioned to be used for commercial properties or commercial entities to be used on public lands. I do get the whole concept of what you're trying to do. And, during the time frame when the beach really wasn't open or we're not charging fees, I did ask that question and I was pretty much told by DEM that doesn't matter whether or not we're charging fees. It still has to be accessible by the public at any time that we own this, now that we've taken on that grant. So to the council president's, viewpoint, and I think many of others that I've heard a number of comments from both ways. DM just told us that if we did it for one entity, we would have to do this for pretty much every entity that asked us. And it really puts the town in a pretty untenable position of approving some and not others. So it does create a little bit of a sticky wicket for us. And like I said, at the early onset of this, I know that, Chris Romlin did what he thought was the right thing of letting you know as a member of the Recreation Commission that he thought it was public lands that you could do it. I know that we let you do it I don't know if you got to do it this past Friday or not, but
No,
you just did the one, you just got to do the one.
I've been waiting for this. We want to do it the right way, and
No, I know.
yeah. It's only did it the one time.
I get the whole take it outside thing. But at the time, I didn't even know there were grant restrictions on us that would prohibit us from doing this. And I even asked about the abutment along the waterway that used to be like the old, where we used to have the fishermen and all that go. And they said the whole thing is restricted. So it kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. I think if we were to do something like this, the town would really have to delve in and set a policy that would permit certain entities, limit others, and it really puts them in a very difficult position. So as you can imagine, you have a very, health oriented, I don't see anything wrong with it, but we don't know who the next venue is going to come in to ask us to do the same thing. I will say that we've denied a number of major events there, like weddings, because we knew that we couldn't do that, but I didn't realize that we couldn't do this as well. So I can only apologize for the disruption and misunderstanding of this. And I would hope that it's some way we can find some other venue for you to utilize besides something that has so many restrictions on it.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for looking into it. I appreciate it.
Does anyone else have any comments? So Kayla, I'm sorry, I guess it kind of speaks for itself. I kind of lost everybody again.
Yeah, Donna had her hand up too.
All right, I'm sorry. My whole screen just went blank. Just love Cox Cable.
No, the only thing I have to say is there must be some place in Tiverton where she could have this because it's very popular. It's very healthy, outdoors.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if this could be done at Fogland.
We don't have any grant money there,
No,
but that's a hike for her to get down there.
It's
But
pretty
I
far to
know,
go.
I know. But I
Are
mean,
there flat surfaces there besides sand at Fogland? or is
it would
all
be the
sand?
parking lot itself, but the parking lot is pretty huge.
Yeah, yeah.
You probably could, fence off a certain part of that because it's pretty huge and we don't have grants there.
Okay. I have a
Um,
question about the grant. Is it something that is like a permanent thing? So for forever and indefinitely, that
yes.
stands in place? Okay.
once we take pockets of grant money to improve things, like I'll give an example, like that town farm, we're doing a major renovation for children's playgrounds, fitness centers. We won't be able to utilize that park it'll have to be open to the public, no matter who they are from anywhere.
Okay.
That's just the way the grants work. And
Anyone in Rhode Island.
Yep.
right,
Yep.
anyway,
Yeah.
Okay. Another question. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can figure something out. Is the fact that the classes are open to the public, or if the classes were free, would that ever alter the nature of the request, like the way it comes in and gets processed? Or because I'm a company in the town, is that the only reason? So basically, if I did the classes for free, say like in September, would that change it?
no, it has nothing to do with the cost. It just has to be open to the public.
Okay.
So you can't have a
everybody could
membership of your
participate.
classes. Like certain only members can only, that you have like paid subscribers that would only come to your classes. You actually have to open it up to the public to then, so I don't know if you'd have like 3 or 5 more bikes to, if somebody from the public wanted to attend the same class. You can't make it exclusive to just your customers.
Yep, yep. I mean, generally registration for our classes is open to the public. We don't have like a membership or anything like that. So like if any one of you wanted to pop into one of our classes, you could always do that. You don't have to buy into anything else other than that one class.
But I think the thing is also that it's a business too, right? I mean, it's a profit organization.
Okay.
Because I can remember that coming up when the grant, because I was there from the beginning. And the grant's very specific.
Okay.
All right.
Madam
Kayla,
President, may I just, and I don't know if this is even a possibility, Kayla, and, I also was at the Recreation Commission meeting where you talked about this, and I applaud your efforts and your energy in this. Have you thought about approaching the owner of the parking lot across the street where the medical companies are? Many of them may end around that time, and whether or not that owner would want to do it, I don't know, but.
Yep. That's actually a really great idea. I might do that. Might be like early in the morning at like 5 a.m. instead, but I might do that.
Denise, you're gone to us.
oh, I'm back. All right, any other questions? All right, thank you, Kayla.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
I think Counselor Janik is with us now.
Yes.
She was just here. I lost her.
I know you.
He was there.
That's what I was doing. When Mike said I was lost, I was trying to tell
I
you
was
to
in the
let her
attendee
in.
room
You
looking
had
for
her
her.
in here a couple of seconds ago.
Yeah, and hang on. Let me make sure she's not out in the attendee room.
She's not as far as I can.
No, I don't see her anywhere.
You had her here.
Yeah, she was here and she,
I'll text her and tell her to try to get back on.
Madam President, just on the last one, rather than table it, can we just say that based upon the questions and answers that matter has been withdrawn?
Yeah.
There she is.
Hi, Deb. We had you in and then you went. Can you hear us?
I guess not.
Yeah,
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Sorry.
That's
got-
right, Deb. We
I got
had you
in and-
on and then Chris made you go away again. I can't understand it.
all right.
I think Deb's had a tough day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, welcome, Deb.
thank you.
Deb, we're on general business, 8B.
So, Mike, you said not to table it?
No, it's not tabled. It's just due to, forgot how Mike put it, due to discussion.
No
Where is
action
he?
taken.
No action taken. Where is Mike?
He's gone now.
Chris,
Deb,
what are you doing over
I
there?
haven't touched them.
They keep running away. They keep running away.
Well, you
There
know
he
what's funny? Mike Burke keeps moving on my screen. I don't know if he moved on was, but he's out. Like I can't find him when I'm trying to get a vote.
He's a
Somebody
traveling
demoted me
man.
to an attendee instead of a panelist. I
Just
don't
go
know.
to Portugal, you'll find them.
Yeah, there you go.
My suggestion be that the minutes reflect that the matter was withdrawn after discussion by the council regarding restrictions on the grant. So that way there'll be a public record of it in case someone comes at a later date and wants to do the same thing.
Mike, what happened to you? Did Chris get rid of you?
Chris made me an attendee apparently. Get sick of
Anybody else want to move?
Well, where's Deb?
Don't tell me.
She's gone again.
I think she was frozen for a good 3 minutes.
Oh,
there.
okay.
No,
Maybe-
but
Due to our internet problems.
That's that North Tiverton curse.
no, I don't know. Someone check if she's in the attendees.
She's not.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
hopefully she'll come back. All right, well, I'll move on. Senior Center Director Holmes, approval of budget transfer, $2,000 from account 616110, 7570 supplies,
So
activities,
Janet-
instruction to account. Yeah, do we want to talk about the grant?
So Janet's not here at the moment, and I thought that she would be, but, so she did go out and apply for a grant to do this, part of this construction, and she was
Mhm.
awarded the grant. Unfortunately, I didn't have any idea she was actually doing this work. And the total misstep on her part, but, it is work that does need to be done in the front of this building, so she was looking to transfer some monies to help complete the job. And it's for $6,400.
So my question earlier, she had $5,000 left in the maintenance account.
I know, that's why I'm somewhat
But
baffled. as to-
now, yeah, I don't know if she realizes that's there.
Well, I think she does.
Oh, so maybe she has plans for that money.
That's
other
my
than this.
concern. I don't know if she has more plans that I'm unaware of.
So does she need this money approved right now?
I believe she does to,
Yeah.
because she only had, her grant only came in at 2,000, if I remember right.
Yes,
And-
2,000.
And then
And
she
she was-
needs another 4,000.
She needs another 4,000, but she could take it from that account, so
Yeah,
what I don't know is, does she have something else in the wings that I'm unaware of?
Does
I
it make
do
sense to move this to later in the agenda and see if Chris can connect to her and get her here?
Go down.
I do want to say that we encourage all the department heads to apply for grants. And the reason why the town administrators should know about them and also bring it to the council if necessary, because sometimes these grants require funds from us.
Right.
So,
I also want to be brutally honest about this repair. She, while she went ahead and did the grant application, which I didn't even know about, and she hired the firm without my knowledge, and they were in the middle of doing this. The firm is actually my brother-in-law, and I had no idea that this was going on. So it created a whole ethical issue for me. So, which I've addressed with her as well and other department heads in town, that they can't simply go out and hire firms, especially without running them through me.
now shouldn't this have gone out to bid, like
Um,
Marcelo?
my view is yes.
Yeah, because it was over $6,000, so.
I think what Chris, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, we did have a brief discussion. I thought that she did get at least 3 bids, did she not?
I believe she got some quotes, but I don't know, they weren't formalized bids, so,
Which have to be approved by us anyway, because she was
Right.
spending the
No,
amount of
I-
money.
so, it did create a little bit of a problem here, so, and I told her now that they were in the middle of doing the work, I couldn't just pull them off the job. So let me get to the bottom, what, let's table this if you want to the next meeting, or
Well, do you want to see if you can get her on the phone and?
I
get
don't
her-
have her cell number, that's my
Oh.
problem.
I might, wait a minute.
I don't have it either.
Joan, do you have it? Joan or Jeannie, you guys must have it, no?
I can call her right now if you would like.
Who's telling me that?
Bruce, I think.
All right.
Stand by.
Well, because Deb's back now. All right, so Bruce is gonna call her. So why don't I move on and we'll come back to this line item? I don't even think I need a motion for it, do I, Mike, as long as I come back this meeting? Okay,
Well,
okay. Counselor Burke, discussion and possible vote on House Bill resolution in support of H5485. This act would allow school committees to add items to their agenda for purposes of discussion only without having to publish notice of the additional item. Continued from 4/12/21.
Yes, so thank you. We did talk about this previously. I can't remember actually if we took a vote on it. I have to look back at those minutes, but we did not have a formal resolution, so we at least wanted a formal resolution. And in essence, what this does is it puts school committees on the same footing as every other public body, where they can add something to their agenda for discussion purposes, but they cannot vote on that. So without further ado, I'd like to move passage of resolution number 2021-04 in support of House Bill 5485 relating to state affairs and government open meetings.
Do I have a
motion?
second? Did I get a second? I'm
I'll
sorry.
second it.
So motion's been made by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Edwards. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes,
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. Moving on. Councilor Burke, presentation by Aaron Donovan, Chamber Executive Director on Newport Chamber of Commerce and subsidiary entities and potential membership benefits to Tiverton, discussion and possible vote on joining Newport Chamber of Commerce and Connect Greater Newport.
Thank you, Madam President. Chris, could you also let in Renee Jones from the Economic Development Commission?
Welcome, Aaron.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Aaron. Thank you. Aaron and I have been in some discussions over the past 2 months or so. As the council knows, I'm the liaison to the chamber as well as to the Economic Development Commission. And I really believe in looking at what the chamber does and their subsidiaries, listening to Renee and the other members of the commission. We have some potential really good collaborative opportunities with the chamber and with their subsidiaries that can, I think, help move us forward in a positive direction. And after Aaron presents, there's one piece that I am really interested in hopefully being able to take advantage of. So Aaron, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Am I able to share my screen?
Yes, you are.
Excellent. Okay. So again, my name is Erin Donovan Boyle. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Newport Chamber of Commerce. I've been on board since June of 2015, so almost 6 years now. And since I've been on board, we've undergone quite a bit of changes throughout the organization. First, you'll notice our new name. We're Greater Newport Chamber rather than just Newport County, and a new logo. And then, of course, our new mission, which is to advocate, innovate, and connect and enhance for the businesses of Greater Newport. So just by way of background, our organization is just turned 100 years old in 2020. And so with the adoption of a new logo, new mission, we also enhanced our broader mission. So we do still provide our typical, sorry, should I do a different layout? I'll just go through it quickly. We do offer our traditional offerings of programs and services like a lot of other chambers of commerce. So well over 65 events per year, which allow for networking for different businesses and organizations and all of their employees, different professional development and business training seminars, different event series, specifically working with all of the different types of businesses that we have. So because we service the businesses in Greater Newport, that includes both Newport County and Bristol counties. That also includes all types of businesses from sole props up to large defense companies and everywhere in between. So when we do that, we have to be very particular about the types of programming that we're offering to ensure that we're servicing all of our members in the broader community. We do offer different services and benefits to our members, marketing and advertising opportunities. We have a pretty robust social media presence, but then also just regular communications that go out to leaders in the business and municipal communities to share information that's impacting the industry. The next pillar of our organization is advocacy. So we do that on the local, state, and federal levels. We adopt an annual policy platform, which goes through the membership and through our different community events to identify the areas of importance for the business community, primarily at the state level, but then also at the municipal and federal levels as well. The Government Affairs Committee meets on a bi-weekly basis, so it's a pretty active group of individuals, and we engage on everything from very specific legislative proposals that are taking place to broader just relationships with the elected officials and government officials in the region. We have regular meetings as well with statewide leaders through our Politics and Pancakes. And then this year we reignited the Municipal Liaison Program, which Councilman Burke was referring to his level of participation. We meet on a quarterly basis with all of the municipal liaisons that are throughout Newport and Bristol County with our full board. We have 34 board members, again, reflecting both the size, scope, industry sector, and geographical location of the businesses. Our next pillar is Innovate. You may have heard that we were able to relocate and actually line up the capital stack to renovate Innovate Newport, which was a 100-year-old building, 35,000 square foot, used to be a school and is now renovated with permanent office space, event and meeting space, and co-working opportunities. So that initiative in particular, I'm very proud of because we've seen it to fruition. The Chamber was able to sell its building, start an endowment, relocate into Innovate Newport. And this is really an important step in ensuring that the broader ecosystem in Greater Newport is meeting businesses, where they are. So this is primarily helping to support startups or sole props or individuals who live and work in the area, but maybe their primary office is located in the Boston or New York area. So they're working remotely part-time and now full-time, but this offers a tremendous opportunity for them to relocate there. That's one project that we have sort of just completed. We are furthering to develop the programming there, but we're looking for other projects for the long term throughout the region to help support so that we can grow the region in that fashion and making sure that we're meeting the needs of the future of work and where our businesses need to go. The next piece is Connect. So this piece, and Councilman Burke also referred to this already, this is really our regional economic development division. And this is something that I'm going to spend most of my time on. This was launched in about 2015 from municipal leaders that came together with the Chamber and identified that the region really needs to work together when it comes to economic development. While there are many voluntary economic development committees throughout all of the communities within our region, they understood that working together may enable us to put our best foot forward because we have so many similarities, yet different preferences. So a Newport is different from a Tiverton or a Jamestown, but nonetheless, the region benefits, together. When economic development happens in one area, everybody is benefiting. They also recognize that our municipal governments are small. Your staffs are small, and not all of the municipalities were able to have a professional economic developer on staff. So by pooling resources, the concept was born. So it's truly a public-private partnership. We officially launched in 2018. We service the 9 communities in the East Bay. The initial funders were the municipalities to help get this program off the ground, along with Bank Newport and Van Buren Charitable Foundation, which has been a significant funder of this initiative. The advisory board meets on a regular basis, includes municipal liaisons, as well as private companies and some of the larger institutions in the region. The focus of this economic development division is to develop a robust business outreach program to the small businesses to identify issues that they're faced with, or to help them navigate the process so that they can stay here. So it's a retention program as well as grow, and potentially, and more so down the line, be a bit of an attraction program. And the other component is to develop a long-term economic development strategy for competitiveness from a regional perspective. So brief timeline, like I said, we launched in 2018. In 2019, we had a region-wide business outreach program, including a business walk, which included 80 volunteers and 100 businesses that were touched on one day. We collected survey data and identified areas of opportunity and areas of concern. So certainly some things that were raised were things that were impacting growth or future development. And I'll tell you the three top areas that were identified was talent retention and attraction, housing for workforce housing, not LMI, and but the mid-level manager type of workforce housing, affordability, as well as broadband infrastructure. So those three areas were identified as the biggest obstacles that our businesses throughout are faced with. So in 2020, we began with our work plan to help start to address those issues and to identify what that long-term 10-year strategy would look like so that we could build up the infrastructure, identify areas that we could help, as well as couple it with the BRE focus of helping businesses navigate, get answers to questions and so forth. But then of course, it was 2020, so COVID hit. So we had to switch gears pretty quickly. Fortunately, we were in a good place to be able to do that because we had collected a significant amount of data for the regional economy, as well as what we knew the touch points were going to be for those small businesses, and also where our vulnerabilities were. So those hardest hit businesses had already been on our radar screen as to an over-reliance on their success from a regional economic perspective. So diversification of our regional economy had been on our radar screen, and it was just excelled in 2020. So we launched a program called Restore Greater Newport. It was a task force. Through doing that, we were able to help to support the businesses within the region that were hardest hit by helping to promote the different programs that became available through the federal and the state government, by doing direct outreach, by actually doing specific technical assistance to help people apply for some of those programs. But then we also were just a communication tool and a resource for the local business community. We've also just hired Isabel Marsh as our business retention expansion lead. She's our business outreach specialist. She is leading the effort currently underway to help promote information relative to the state relief grant that Governor McKee just launched a couple of weeks ago. And then in 2022, we'll be addressing how we can come out and recover, because it will be a long term, even though things are starting to vamp up again. So our Connect Greater Newport investors include all of those listed here. You'll see most of the communities, 4 of the 7 communities that have participated in the past are current investors. Jamestown, Bristol, and Tiverton yourself had invested about 2 years ago. Jamestown, and frankly, what I believe happened was the original founders of this initiative got either voted out of office or new appointments were made. So it's upon us to make sure that we get out and do these presentations to ensure that you're up to speed and are well educated about these different types of initiatives. So I really commend Councilman Burke to allow me to present tonight, and would be happy to answer additional questions. Very quickly, and I won't go through all of these because I know you've had a very long night already, but we do see the need and opportunity related to this type of initiative, but for the region as well. We can work together to help support local, regional, and global businesses and bring some of these initiatives to scale as we enter into this next stage of workforce. And as we need to continue to help support those individuals who have been displaced and are out of the labor force right now. That is quite a bit of a hurdle in front of us. We also recognize that there's a significant gap in individuals able to take the open positions that are currently available. I'll go through these quite quickly. So as I mentioned, we had a lot of this data going into the recession or into the pandemic. In 2018, we had steady growth. It was low, but it was consistent. Some of that has to do with an aging workforce. Some of it has to do with the primary industry sectors that are here. There were significant tourism impacts. I'm happy to provide this information to you so that I don't have to go through it all tonight. I want to be thoughtful and respectful. But through the Restore Greater Newport Task Force, we tracked a lot of the impact on a real-time basis on a dashboard on our website called restoregreaternewport.com. So you can check out a lot of this information and statistics there. One of the other areas that I would like to point out, though, is that small business lending in Greater Newport region, including those two counties, we've seen a significant drop since 2007. That's quite a concern. So we are looking at different ways to work with the Economic Development Administration from Department of Commerce to ensure that our region can have access to the right amount of funds to help support those businesses who may be struggling. Again, just some more information. Remote work ability, you know this better than I, but we have such a wonderful quality of place and quality of life in our region that it makes it very attractive. We've seen a huge migration of individuals and professionals out of more urban centers into our area. And with that comes some pros and cons. So pros meaning we've got a significantly educated workforce in the region who have the ability to work remotely. That's great and presents a lot of opportunities there. Also drives up housing costs and puts extra burden on our broadband infrastructure. So certainly some areas that we need to address. You can see here that most of the people that work in our region live in our region. So an investment in economic development and in the local business community is truly an investment in our own residents that live within the region. So there's a statistic here, I hope you all can see it, but no other county accounts for greater than 1% of Newport County's workers. You can see it is truly local. Wages are still lagging for tourism workers, which are the two of the highest employers within the region, those sectors. So we certainly need to help address upward mobility and career opportunities. Really briefly, some of the efforts that we put into place in addition to the technical assistance and so forth, and the creation of this webpage where we tracked how we did throughout the pandemic. We also created a local shopping site, e-commerce site called Shop Greater Newport, where individuals who typically would be strolling down Main Street and pop into a boutique or a store or a restaurant because they passed by and it had curb appeal. They weren't able to do that, and consumer habits have changed. So now businesses are able to set up their own e-commerce website within or page within this website. And it's also a searchable directory. So it's sort of our Shop Local campaign that we were able to launch. We're starting to see things turn around as far as activity within the area. And optimism, but caution. We want to open up, but do things safely. Bookings are increasing. The wedding industry is starting to come back, and now we have a little bit more predictability at the end of May. So we're hopeful to see that industry grow, although we recognize a significant opportunity within the blue economy. In Newport County, it accounts for 10% of all jobs. In Bristol, it's 9%, but in Rhode Island, it's only 6%. So we truly are the blue economy is truly our best and greatest opportunity and asset in our region rather than the full state too. Defense sector, I don't need to tell you how important and significant it is to our region, particularly because those who are employed in those fields not only are higher wage earners and have more opportunity as individuals and employees, but they also offer significant resiliency because of their abilities to remotely work. So we don't fear losing them as much. Significant federal interventions have been made over the course of the last year. Eventually, those investments will go away. So being equipped locally and regionally and statewide to be able to accommodate and support the recovery is going to be really important. And that's certainly where a lot of our work is. These are the 4 main focuses for the rest of 2020, helping our entrepreneurs in the region regain confidence. So whether they're re-entering the workforce, starting a new business, or shifting gears and adapting their own business, we are helping to provide professional development and resources to help them do that. Talent retention and attraction of skilled labor is a significant concern, as I mentioned earlier. And then of course, broadband and workforce housing are some of the longer term infrastructure issues that really need to be addressed to ensure that we have an area that can accommodate the future workforce. One area I'd like to just expand on a little bit is the broadband issues. And I heard some of you reference, some difficulties this evening with, with your internet speed and access and so forth. We're currently under, we just issued an RFP and we'll be getting proposals from a technology firm to do GIS mapping of the entire region. So of both Bristol and Newport counties, to understand really where the issues are relative to access and speed. We know that we have a lot of fiber in the area. We know that that there are service providers that are available, yet the last mile and access to the high speed component is really where things are falling short. We see it as an infrastructure issue. We're not proposing any solutions, but we are collecting the data, trying to identify exactly what it looks like, where connection failures are, what proposed solutions could look like, what the cost analysis would be, and a feasibility study of how to get that done so that more people are connected at the speeds they need and at an affordable rate. We are doing all of this and plan in 5 months to actually have all of this information and data. And the idea is that we will be able to have a shovel-ready project when the federal funds are available through stimulus dollars and through transportation infrastructure and so forth. So that's currently underway. And just to wrap it up, we're the Regional Economic Development Division of the Chamber. Isabel Marsh is our new business outreach specialist. And we also work with Rich Overmoyer. He's the project manager, but he's from an economic development firm based out of Pennsylvania, who has supplied significant expertise to this initiative, which has really helped us hit the ground running and be able to adapt and pivot when the world went upside down. So thank you for the opportunity to present. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Erin. Madam President, may I?
Yes, of course.
So thank you, Erin. That was wonderful. I very much appreciate it. A couple things to highlight and to follow up on. in terms of, the municipal liaison meetings, I've been to two. They've been wonderful opportunities to hear from the partners in the chamber, the members, largely the business members. And I can tell you it's a very actively engaged leadership, both at the volunteer business member level as well as the staff. And I've gotten some good ideas. We've been talking about, for example, short-term rentals. I passed on to our solicitor that, Middletown has a task force on that, so we may be able to tap into that. That's just one example. The whole broadband discussion is, we'll get to later in my update, certainly is something that we're trying to see how we can address over the long haul and the short haul. And I know Joan has sent some jobs to I have the name wrong, but the jobs bank that the chamber has. Those are just some small things. One thing, Aaron, when we talked about before, we talked a little bit more about the Fourth Economy, which is that company out of Pittsburgh. And if anybody, I'm from Pennsylvania. I lived for about 6 months in Pittsburgh and went to college out that way when Pittsburgh was a dying community after the steel industry went under. Now, I don't know what the Fourth Economy, if they were involved in all of that, but Pittsburgh is now a shining example of a rejuvenated community. And the one thing I liked about this company when I looked at their website and just delved in a little bit is the focus on hearing the voices of the community in the work that they might be able to do. So Aaron, can you talk about what an opportunity, if we were a member, what the opportunity might be there?
Absolutely. So, when we first launched the initiative, we had thought, okay, we'll have a director of this regional economic development division who will, just day to day, create its own book of business, develop everything. We realized pretty quickly that we needed more expertise. We needed access to a firm who could identify best practices, do comparative analysis of other areas around the state, the country and the world for similar like these, and do the research for us of, okay, here's 5 different options to address this issue. This is what works and this isn't, right? Or these are options and what works best for your community. And so the best part, certainly, Rich Overmeyer is just a great person to work with, but they also provide a level of expertise that we wouldn't be able to necessarily find in one individual. So not only have they helped us to build up the organization, but now that we are moving forward with this 10-year strategy, they've done a lot of the research already. So if we were to go out to RFP for a new firm to come in to help us do this, they would have to do all of that baseline research to start. So it's economies of scale that we're also experiencing with them because they've been on board since 2018. Forward for specific projects, they would also be able to sort of cut out some of those components and do it more affordably for specific projects because of that. What we are excited about in going forward, particularly as we embark on this 10-year strat plan, is they recognize that while there are a lot of similarities in each of the municipalities because we're coastal communities, that we're all unique. Many areas, many communities who have invested in this initiative are doing it because they don't necessarily want a lot of economic development within their own community, right? They recognize that they benefit from another area throughout the region of what they're investing in. And they're investing in the idea that their community own comp plans are taken into consideration while the larger economic development plan is being addressed. One area, housing, is a hot topic in every community for various reasons and goals that are put on them by the state as well. But some things just don't make sense. Very rural communities don't necessarily make sense to have a densely populated LMI complex. However, other areas do make sense. And other types of development may be better suited. So looking at it from a regional perspective rather than individually, but keeping in mind the will of each of those communities and having a seat at the table while that's being designed and discussed and thought about is what we see as a great opportunity.
Thank you. And then my last thing before we get into that. So the Chamber and Connect Greater Newport are two different organizations, a subsidiary. The Connect is a subsidiary of the Chamber, correct?
Correct. So the Chamber is a 501c6 member-led organization that is able to advocate. The Economic Development Division is through our 501c3, which is a charitable organization specifically dedicated to issues to help the community.
So there are two separate fees. Can you talk about those?
Sure. So the membership of the Chamber is for the specific benefits that I talked about at the beginning of the presentation. And that is based on the number of employees that the municipality has. And that's similar for all of the other municipalities that are members and all of the other businesses and organizations that are members. So it's based on number of employees. And every employee becomes a member of the Chamber and it has access to the different benefits. So all of the professional development opportunities, the different events at the member rates, the communications, the discount member discount employee benefit that we offer. The Connect Greater Newport is the public-private partnership, and each of the municipalities that have participated have contributed a certain level each year. The two larger communities, the city of Newport and Middletown, have contributed $25,000 on an annual basis, and the smaller communities have contributed $5,000. We also have the private sector that contributes as well, because we recognize this won't be successful without the private sector investing as well. And those amounts vary, but we've gotten commitments typically on an annual basis for up to 2, 3, and 5 years. So a certain amount.
And would you have any sense of, I don't know if Chris has the number of employees we have, what that would equate to for us for the Chamber?
So, it's actually been negotiated with the municipalities well before I was on board. I'm happy to, review that and see what is a reasonable, request. I believe it was $2,900 on an annual basis from Tiverton, and you all have been a member for 21 years.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Edwards?
Well, you sort of answered one of my questions was, by becoming a member, does the town assume a financial responsibility? And the answer to that is yes, to be determined how much it is. So one of the things I will say to the rest of the council members is we would have to figure out where to put a line item to fund this. And my experience on the budget committee tells me you do not want to put it under civic appropriations.
No.
So I have a suggestion for that later on. I have a suggestion for that.
Okay.
We used to have a line item for this.
We did, but civic appropriations becomes a landmine battlefield. So I would suggest maybe we could end up putting under the town administrator, like the League of Cities and Towns.
I was just going to say that's where it was.
Or under the EOC.
Can I just say it was, when I first started, I think it was under the EDC. That fee came out of the EDC. And if I can just speak up a little bit about some of the benefits that we had. When we first started as an EDC, Connect Greater Newport sent, we worked with Ashley Medeiros, who came and worked with us and met with us every month and helped us get ourselves organized. She also helped us organize 2 business walks. One was 2019 and one was 2018. I wasn't able to make the 2019 one, but members of the EDC and other members of the town were able to visit businesses and talk to the businesses and find out, what was going on with them and what they were doing. So we found it a really helpful resource, especially when we were getting started, to have somebody that we could bounce ideas off of and who could sort of give us a broader picture. So that's what, and Isabel Marsh, I assume, is taking over Ashley's position. The question I was going to ask you was how much do you interact with like Rhode Island Commerce? Because one of the things that you raised that, and maybe we'll be talking about this later as well, is that this side of the bay doesn't seem to get a lot of attention. And that's one of the concerns that as an EDC we have. How do we, what kind of interaction do you have with Stephen Pryor and Rhode Island Commerce? And, we were able to go, one of the things I did do was on a monthly basis, I did go to Rick Overmeyer's meetings with Ashley Medeiros, and that was a really good group of people. It was people from businesses, it was planners, it was people like me who were just starting out, and we were able to share notes and talk about what was going on and sort of learn about things that were coming down the pike. So I did find, and I'm still in touch with Rick Overmeyer. He's, so that's been very helpful as well. So I just wanted to let you know that we have in fact accessed the Chamber of Commerce and Connect Greater Newport, and that we found it helpful.
So just very quickly to the question about working with Rhode Island Commerce, we certainly do. And actually, we have a contract with Commerce to help spread information about this new relief grant to all of the businesses within the community that might be eligible, as well as some marketing and regular marketing and outreach. I was on a call with them today, and they specifically identified Tiverton as not getting a lot of applications in for this particular program.
Right.
So they said, please, I mentioned that I would be on tonight, and they said, please share the information about this particular grant, which I'm happy to do. But I would agree. I think what's so effective about this is that I would love to be at all of the meetings. I can't certainly do it, and my staff can't. So being able to hire through Connect Greater Newport, Isabel Marsh, to be able to attend and build on the work that Ashley began, I think is exactly what our goal is. She's doing direct outreach right now, specifically for that grant, the last round of PPP and so forth. But being somebody on the ground who's going to be able to interact and interface with your organization is going to be important. But then also so having your ear to the ground, but then sharing it with Commerce about the different issues and that our local businesses are being faced. And you mentioned that this side of the bay doesn't get a lot of attention. That's exactly why this began in 2015. The municipal leaders recognize that there's leadership turnover both at the state and the municipal level, but there was nothing constant to keep ringing that bell for our region. And somehow, the noise got lost once you traveled over those bridges.
Right.
How could we work together and sort of take the bull by the horns and work on our region? Yes, with Commerce, but alone as well. So we're starting to build this foundation and get resources into the region that Commerce and not fight with all of the other communities, but do it separately as well. So we have an application to the Economic Development Administration for $1.5 million to get into the region to help with recovery. I'm hopeful we'll hear from that soon. But then on the Commerce level, we're ringing that bell saying we need capacity within this region. So give us some support. We do have representatives from Commerce that serve on the stakeholder Connect Greater Newport group that typically meets monthly. Everything was shaken up a little bit with the pandemic, but we're eager to start that again.
Right.
So yeah, Stephen Pryor is coming on the radio with me on Thursday. So we definitely have their ear. I'm also on Governor McKee's transition team for this first 100 years. So I think that that's been helpful as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Um,
Mike, go ahead.
no, I want to see if there are other questions. I think though, Aaron, you meant his first 100 days, not years.
Yeah, I know.
It feels like years.
Wow. Anyone else?
Donna has a question.
Yep.
I think what's not being spoken about is the legislation that occurs that's very disconnected from the business problems. They pass legislation that puts so many burdens and expense that it's difficult to remain in business, not even with the pandemic. This is an ongoing problem. The tax base is too high. The business taxes, they pass legislation and they're stuck with all this extra expense. They don't think it through. And the consequences are the businesses can't compete. One of the things that happens is that our 7% tax is too high. And we live near Massachusetts. And people just go over the border. You need to look at that. If that's what you're going to do, I would be interested only if you looked at legislation that was anti-business. Too high taxes, too many burdens, too much red tape needs to be looked at. We need to be more user-friendly to grow a base of good businesses. And unless you do that, it's nothing but talk. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Aaron, did you want to say something?
No, I mean, I appreciate that. That is absolutely something that we work on a daily basis. I'm a member of the Rhode Island Business Coalition, so it's all of the chambers and all of the trade associations that meet on a weekly basis specifically to identify the anti-business legislation, and we work together in writing testimony and providing testimony. We do adopt a policy platform each year, and I'm happy to share that with the council after this meeting as well, just so that you can see some of the areas that we try to focus on. But I would also say that we need to be more proactive. It's okay to fight the anti-business and important to fight the anti-business legislation that's being promoted, but we need to be proactive, or they just look at the business community as, well, of course they're gonna fight it. They don't want any change, right? But what some of the things that we're working on this year, particularly because of post-COVID, but is building capacity and fighting for funding to build capacity within the region to help directly support the small business community, as well as a few other things that I'd be happy to share with you. So at least you can see some of the work that we're working on.
Anyone else? Mike?
I'd like to ask if the council is comfortable with us asking the town administrator to have a conversation with Aaron and then look at coming back to us with what the membership fee for the chamber itself would be, and then also look at the cost of the Connect Greater Newport and where we might be able to use funds that would otherwise be unspent, whether that be from our contingency fund or elsewhere, to be able to join this year. And Aaron, would that be for 1 year? Is that what, from whenever we join?
That's correct.
So Mike, is that a motion?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. So I have a motion by Councilor Burke and seconded by Councilor Edwards. Any further discussion?
Well, Mike, I lost complete connection to this meeting, so I don't know what Mike said.
So I'll repeat that, Donna. So basically,
Donna, I
the
thought so. I saw you leave. Go ahead, Mike.
yeah.
Not on
Basic- Basically, the motion is to have the town administrator talk with Aaron to find out what that actual cost to us would be for a year's worth of membership for the chamber. And then we know that for Connect Greater Newport, it's $5,000. So come back to us at our next meeting with a proposal on funding that and including where we would pull those dollars from for a first year of membership for both.
And Mike, maybe,
I would also like to see exactly what we're getting. Can I have a list of what I'm getting, what we would be getting, and then look at the year and see if it was worthwhile? I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, so Aaron can provide the slide deck, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, which really goes over it. And then I found a lot of it is really exploring things and certainly, asking questions. Renee has some experience with it as well. I'm sure she'd be able to talk more, Donna, and willing to talk more about why she thinks it's helpful. I'm happy to speak with you as well. And certainly we should, look at what we get out of it over the next year. Sometimes things are not easily measurable. And because part of it is also what will our employees get out of it, because as Aaron said, they're members of the chamber if we join. And some of the indirect things that I mentioned, like just the connections with the municipal liaisons. I mean, I won't put words in Aaron's mouth, but I'm our liaison. But if we decide we just don't want to do our part in it, there's no requirement for them to keep us on that role. So.
Chris, what do you think? Chris, what do you think of this idea? Is this okay with you to explore this? Well, I can't hear you.
You're mute.
He's laughing, so I'm not sure why.
I'm not so sure you wanted to ask that question. I'll talk to Aaron offline. My only concern would be as the fees, would it be prorated? I don't know what the year consists of. Is it calendar year, fiscal year? Is it prorated based on our entry date? Is those kind of things?
It's actually each month we sign up new members.
So it's from the time you sign up.
Correct.
A year.
And it renews that time every year.
Like a magazine subscription.
Exactly. See, we're very, very convenient and responsive. Certainly, if that makes more sense to, wait till the next fiscal year for budgeting purposes, that's certainly something that we would appreciate.
Okay.
Just a comment.
Go ahead,
If you
Deb.
could help us so that we don't keep getting kicked out of Zoom, that'd be worth its weight in gold, right, Donna?
Don't make that problem.
girl, Deb.
Don't make that.
Pay the bill. Pay the bill.
There you go. Get Mike to complain to Cox.
Well, he has.
So have I.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. If that's all, thank you, Aaron, very much.
Thank you
And
all for your time. I really appreciate it.
Aaron, we're going to be
Renee.
speaking about some other economic development things. If you want to hang out in the audience, that's up to you. But
Renee, are you staying?
I am?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I guess I am.
Yeah, Mike just told you you were, so.
We talked about this yesterday.
All right, Mike. Councilor Burke, discussion of role of Economic Development Commission and possible vote on the following: joint town council EDC planning board zoning workshop to include the town administrator, the town planner, and the building and zoning official. B, development of a system of ongoing communication among EDC, planning, zoning, administrator, planner, building, and zoning official relative to development, especially regarding business development. C, including EDC in development implementation of plan to fully develop the industrial business park. Councilor Burke?
Thank you, Madam President. So I've had some really good, robust conversations with members of the Economic Development Commission since January-ish. And, have found a commission that really wants to step up and step in to help move Tiverton forward in a way that is connected and supportive of our comprehensive plan. At the same time, at times, and Renee, if I am putting words in people's mouths, feel free to jump in and, tell us. At the same time, feels kind of left out of the picture, occasionally at least. And I think they're a very important commission for us to be able to strategically move ahead. I think if we, and it's also why I see a partnership with the Chamber and Connect Greater Newport as something that will help enhance that. I want to go through a very brief presentation and kind of set the tone for this, and then move into some of the items that we've identified. So let me share. Where's my presentation? Okay. So you can see the presentation, not the cemetery commission up on my screen, right? Because I have two screens that I work off of. So again, this is to have a conversation about strengthening our Economic Development Commission and improving communication and collaboration across town government. This is straight from the charter. I'm just going to paraphrase it, but these are the roles that are defined by the charter. A liaison to what is now Commerce Corporation, or the Division of Department of Commerce, for us, to assist town businesses, especially those in marine and agriculture, to find ways to expand, improve, access tax relief, etc., to assist businesses to access the benefits associated with the enterprise zone that we are, or were. I'm not quite sure. We have to check that one out.
Yeah.
And then assist in the search for and attraction of businesses which would be consistent with the town's comprehensive plan. So that's what they're charged with. And again, as in those discussions, sometimes it doesn't feel like they have the opportunity to do that. This is what's in our comprehensive plan. So if I know we've all looked at it, I took the time to, and there's another agenda item related to that plan that I put on, to look at the layout of the action steps, which is actually in about the middle or second third of the document, because there's another couple related plans attached. And again, I'm not going to read all these, but there are about 8 or 9, I believe, action steps within element 10, supporting appropriate database impact assessments for proposed businesses coming in of all types, actively pursue enterprises with best potential for positive revenue, job creation, sustainable environmental impact, enhance commercial prosperity in Tiverton. And I added this emphasis through functional, it's the language from the plan, through functional collaboration between the town planner, planning board, EDC, the chamber, Newport Tourism Agency, and what would be Commerce Corporation. Establish a procedure to notify appropriate commissions when a new business requests information about opening in Tiverton. Explore the possibility of pop-ups, incubators, shared office space to assist with small business opportunities. 7, facilitate formation of a small business district associations. 10, partner with the Arts Council, Discover Newport, the Chamber, on projects encouraging destination tourism, really emphasizing our history, the art scene, and the like, creating a tourism map. 14, advocate for amendments to expand and strengthen the enterprise zone program so it can be more effective. 15, establish a database of vacant commercial and industrial properties throughout Tiverton. And then 16, partner with local businesses to identify barriers to expansion and possible solutions to support growth, resulting in increased tax revenue for us. The current status, and as I mentioned at the front end, I really get a sense of limited interaction with key related boards and commissions. Again, part of what we see in the agenda item is that joint workshop, if you will. So they focused on some small projects, not unimportant, but small projects, to at least show that they're willing to do things. The gazebo, signage at the entrance of Tiverton. They've had discussions about a sign for the industrial park, the website, and there's some really good information on their webpage if you take a look at it. The other thing, just to relate back to the chamber discussion, that shop Greater Newport is a wonderful place. We only have about 4 or 5 Tiverton businesses on that. And that could be something that could be encouraged as well. But they're looking for guidance and support on developing the strategic partnerships and an economic development strategy that comports with the comprehensive plan. Improving the collaboration and communication with other town boards and commissions and staff, identifying and marking Tiverton's brand. So helping brand Tiverton in terms of businesses, in terms of tourism, in terms of people who want to come live here. How to redevelop the north end of Tiverton in concert with the comprehensive plan. There's an error there. Looking at some special events, they threw out the idea of Daffodil Days as one type of special event, but again, special events to encourage growth, positive growth, and effective growth. And from my perspective, for those of you familiar with it, really smart growth. And smart growth is one that doesn't just trample all over everything in town. It really looks at what are the strengths and challenges and how do we build on the strengths to overcome the challenges. But walkable storefronts, walkable restaurants where they can be put in place, those types of things. And then funding to support their work. And part of it is they, without a lot of guidance, and what Renee and the other members mentioned when I first got on was they don't believe, at least, they've had a liaison for many years. And that hindered them in the work that they wanted to do. So I'm going to ask Renee to fill in anything that she wanted to fill in, and then we can, if we may, Madam President, open up for discussion.
Yeah, let me go back a little bit. If you could even go back on the slides, because I do have some comments about them as we are going along. Go ahead. Is that the first one?
That's the first one.
Okay, go to the second one. We have tried to get, we have worked with, briefly wrote at, well, let me start first. When we first started as an Economic Development Commission, the first thing we had to do was develop the comprehensive plan, because it hadn't been rewritten for years in other comprehensive plans. And one of the things we were able to do that Erin talked about was we were able to take the Brookings Institute report that had just come out from the state and start looking at aligning our goals with what the state was saying it wanted to do, because we felt we had a better chance if our goals were aligned with the state's of picking up more information and getting more things rolling. So that was the first thing we did. We've also worked very hard with, we worked with the town in terms of developing the LEAN program. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but we worked with them because one of the things we had heard was that businesses were always complaining that things were not streamlined enough. It was too confusing. They didn't know what to do when they went in. And because of a relationship that I had developed with Liz Tanner, who's now, I think she's the head of the State Department of Business Regulation. I have to check that out. She came down into town hall and actually worked with the people in the town clerk's office to sort of go through their procedures and see where they could streamline things. So that was something else we worked on. We have developed a pamphlet that we have been able to put out on our website. We did our garden, and we've done some other things along the way. But one of the things we do have felt is that it seems like we're working in silos a lot of times. So what we talk about, we talk about it ourselves, and then we hear something else has happened in another department that we weren't aware of. And that might have helped us with our thinking, or might have, that we might have had some input on. And so that's one of the reasons that I think we were feeling like, there's got to be a more organized way in the town for these different boards and commissions to at least talk to each other and let each other know what's going on and where they're at and what's changed, and just have a better sense of how we all fit together. And that's what this issue was about for us. I mean, clearly, when I call up town administrator, I get a lot of support. People will answer my questions. That's not the issue. The issue is like more of a sense that we're working on things together, and that the EDC is part of this group. So that was one of the things I wanted to mention. So that takes care of 1 and 2. Okay, now if you can go to the next one there. In terms of the enterprise zone, I actually did look up the enterprise zone, and I'm not clear, and Chris, maybe you have an answer on this, but as far as I know, the enterprise zone was supposed to end in 2014, and then was supposed to be expanded, but it also was supposed to end in 2019. So I have no idea what the status is of the enterprise zone anymore in Tiverton, but we had worked in conjunction with Portsmouth, and so the enterprise zone was Portsmouth, Tiverton. But the other thing I wanted to mention, why we've been talking about things in general, is that because, first of all, we had to come up with a budget, and we were like, what are we going to charge for? We don't even know what to charge for. You know, we want to have money to do some things, but we don't really have an idea which way to go. So that was one thing that came up. But the other thing that came up that also got us starting to think was that right around December, there was a major project that was developed in Portsmouth that sounds exactly what we need to do in Tiverton. And it just, you know, it was something, they have it's called Tech Bridge. It's a $6 million project. They got money from the Rhode Island Foundation. They got money from Rhode Island Commerce, and they're working in conjunction. It's a joint project with the Navy. And it's the type of business we think would fit in Tiverton, this kind of tech startup, innovation, and just sort of, but those things take planning, and we have to have a sense that that's where we want to go as a town. And that's why a lot of these things are coming up right now. So that's basically what I wanted to say. Anyway.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? I can't see everybody right now. Okay. Any questions from the council? Yes, Donna.
I can't see anybody right now.
Yeah, but we
It's
can
blank.
see you. We can see you and we can hear you.
Very frustrating. This is terrible service. Anyway, I listened to this and I think of the Essex Library, and it's very disconcerting that we have a man that wants to bring something to Tiverton. Maybe didn't go about it right, but he needs help to establish that. We need to help him. And yet we want to bring businesses in, but we put all kinds of things in the way for it to happen. We talk about tourism. Well, a bed and breakfast is part of that. I'm just at odds as to what we talk about and what our actions are. You know, short-term rental can be, for the time being, a historic structure that's going to be a certain type of individual that wants to come to Tiverton. And yet we can't even get past ourselves. You know, I did read in the paper that, well, I don't know, you know, when this is going to happen. Well, I'm sorry, it's just not good enough.
Well, I don't know, Dan, I don't know who said that in the paper, but we are working on an ordinance to get this to happen.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm not in the loop. All I know is I
Well,
brought
no,
it.
we voted. Am I right, guys? We voted on.
Yeah, I know, but the guy shut down. I mean, we need to
Well, we
figure
didn't
out.
tell him, we didn't tell him to shut down. We told him we were working. He heard what everyone else heard. Nobody is saying we don't want to do it. We just need parameters around it. That's all. And right now, Donna, it's not legal in the zone he wants to have it in. So we need to fix that. And that's what
Okay,
we're working on.
that's my thing. I'm like, you know, I'm so upset with the way, you know, I guess things have had to, I guess Landmark pulled out. I'm not quite sure. I haven't talked to anyone. Of course, you know, what they say in the paper is what they say in the paper. But all I know as a counselor, it's very, very frustrating to see that something actually for tourism, and I know it's not in the right place, but I think it's actually a very good type of a business to bring into Tiverton for tourism in this beautiful gem of a building that's been all restored. So I just
Bill?
want people to be more open to things.
Bill?
I just want to thank Councilor Burke for these two presentations. I think they're very informative. And I think there is a communication issue between all the committees. And I think they could collaborate together and work together. I know I'm starting to do that with the Arts Council. I started to refer them to other committees to try to pull their resources together and try to make a 2022 a little bit better. So I just want to thank Councilor Burke for these two presentations, and that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Mike, do you want to go further with this?
Okay, thank you. Yes. So I have 3 suggestions on here. The first is I'd like us to have a joint workshop between the council, the EDC, the planning board, the zoning board, town administrator, planner, building zoning officials. If we decide to go forward that, I have 2 suggestions. One, that we hold it later in May so we can get somebody on board for the open positions. And 2, depending on what happens with the vote that was just taken regarding Connect Greater Newport and the chamber, I'd like to possibly discuss further with Renee and with Aaron or Aaron's staff about whether or not we could have that facilitated by somebody from outside. Because sometimes it's really helpful, I think, to have an outside facilitator in those discussions. But right now, I'd just like to propose for a date to be determined that we have that joint workshop. So I guess I'm looking for guidance if folks are okay with at least moving forward with some planning around that.
Yeah, I personally think it's a great idea. Maybe the 3rd week in May. The last week in May is a little difficult because of Memorial Day and people go away, or the 1st week in June is a little bit better too. But I do know that last week in May, it's always hard to get everyone together.
Yep.
But I'm up for the idea and I think it's a perfect idea. How does everyone else feel? You can just nod your heads, I guess. Donna?
My only concern is how Chris feels about this is more on his plate. He's working on the weekends. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm not Chris, and he's got a lot on his plate.
Right. Well,
So-
I mean, as far as Chris, I don't know if this is extra work right now for Chris. I mean, he'd have to attend the meeting. But Donna, this is a way to move forward, like you're saying, instead of just talking about all these ideas, getting every.
No, I don't have a problem. I just haven't heard from Chris because Chris has mentioned an A, B, and C, and I'm just wondering if he can even fit it in.
We'll make it work. Not work.
Okay, I just thought you should have some say. Thank you.
And
He doesn't
and
go
the-
home anyway.
And the town council would be involved in all.
I-
Mike, I assume the town council would also be involved in all of this.
Yes.
Yeah, I would hope
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
So the joint meeting, is everyone agreeable to either the 3rd week in May or the last week or the 1st week in June? And maybe I'll work with, maybe Joan and I could send out some email to the different committees and ask if they're available.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. And then,
The second is, these all go kind of hand in hand. So development of a system of ongoing communication between and among those, and that may come out of that joint workshop. So I don't know that we have to do anything with that right now.
well, I think that would be an agenda item for that
Right.
workshop. Yeah.
Right. And as well, the third piece. But really, they have a significant role. The EDC is supposed to, both by charter and by the plan, have a significant role in business development. And that would include, for me at least, one of our biggest opportunities is the park. And, to my knowledge anyway, and only because I haven't heard anything, I don't know that there's a current, at least, master plan on selling that from a comprehensive perspective. So, making sure that there's compatible businesses next to each other, so to speak. Those types of things that you need to consider. And, who knows, maybe in our discussions with the chamber and Connect Greater Newport, they might be able to help us identify funding sources for some of the challenges we have there around like infrastructure development. Because we know that's one of the most significant challenges for us.
As far as getting the EDC involved with the industrial park, I think we could do this, but Marcella would have to tell me if we could, but we could always we can invite anyone into executive session. And we could invite them into our executive session to talk about the proposed plans and see what they think about it, and they could help promote these businesses. We could do that, right, Mike? Yeah.
But even before that, I think what it gets to is, what do we want to come in there? And how are we promoting that? So as much as the conversation about who it is important, it's about what should it look like? That's, I think, the first step. And again, maybe those types of conversations took place before most of us have been on the council. And it's an opportunity to resurrect those conversations and dust them off and see where they are and what needs to be modified. And maybe it's more than that. I just don't know.
Well, there has been, since I've been on the council, there has been discussions on what we would like there. The problem is getting these people interested in coming there. And that is because of our one of the main things is our infrastructure problems down there also. So I remember being in a few discussions on what we would like there, but the problem is we weren't able to sell it for so long that anyone who was interested, we'd talk to them about it, because think of how long that sat there without one piece being sold.
Right. So that, Joe was going to say something.
Joe?
No, I was just going to say what Bill always says, offer them a barbecue. Maybe we'll get people to come.
Well,
so that covers those items.
Renee, were you involved? I think you were away when I first started on the council. We did have something at the meeting house. Do you remember that? With I don't know if you were on the EDC back then. We had different businesses come into the meeting house, and I believe maybe the Chamber of Commerce ran it and talked about the opportunities here in Tiverton.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
It's a long time ago. I'm not sure I remember that.
Well, I've been on the council for 9 years, so I'd say it was believe it or not, I'd say it was one of the first years I was on the council.
I wasn't on the EDC way 9 years.
I think Susan Gill might have had
maybe
something to do with it.
Susan Gill. I know Scott Humphrey was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right, Renee.
Yeah.
But we did. It was almost like an open house for Tiverton.
Right.
It was something like that.
I think, I think with the chamber or getting Tiverton on the map is one of our biggest issues, because we do have the industrial park, but like with this project that took place in Portsmouth, when I looked at the amount of money that they had gotten from different foundations, I said, well, maybe what we should be doing is looking at something like that to develop the infrastructure, because that is the stumbling block for our industrial park. People don't want to come if they have to put, multiple millions of dollars into water and other things. So maybe that's one way we could start looking at it. Could we look at grants for that particular park? And I'm not sure that that's going to work, but that's just something that occurred to me.
All right. So the first step is to get a date, get everyone involved, and we'll go on from there. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I want
Thank you. Aaron, thank you for staying with us.
Want to thank Aaron again, and thank you, Renee.
Thank you,
My
Erin.
pleasure. Look forward to working with you all.
Thank you.
So do we.
I'll be in touch.
All right, Renee. You always are. All right, Councilor Burke, establishment of a schedule of periodic meetings of all town board and commission chairs.
So again, this kind of goes hand in hand, all of these items that I put on pretty much tonight are intended to support each other. And this, and Chris, you may be doing this and I don't know. But, you know, as Bill was saying, he's trying to connect the Arts Council to other groups. We're having this discussion here. And periodicity could be once a quarter. I don't know. It's really up what makes the most sense. But I think it's intended to look at an opportunity for enhancing communication between and among boards and commissions and the town staff and us as well. I would see the council president being a part of that. I would see even, although we don't, they're not directly connected to the council and the town, as they say, town side of government, the school committee, public housing authority, the sewage commission, the the Stonebridge, the water authorities, at least being invited. So everybody kind of has an opportunity to know what's going on within their different other purviews. It might be too ambitious, and Chris, if you think it is, virtually throw rocks at me, but don't hurt your screen.
We'll find out tomorrow night because they'll all be there for the ethics thing.
Yeah, they can be gotten together.
And I'm not looking for a vote or anything on this one. I'm just offering it as a suggestion and, for Chris to think about. And again, you might be doing this in some way, shape or form that
I'm not with all the boards and commissions. We do meet periodically with some of them, but it's usually the hottest topic of the day that we usually try to, trying to resolve their issues.
Putting out the
It's
fires.
not a bad idea. It's something we could probably do.
Okay. Councilor Burke again. Discussion and possible vote to direct town administrator to set up a timeline for council to undertake a systemic review, a systemic review of the implementation of the comprehensive community plan. Mike?
So direct is probably a strong word there. And I'm not looking for Chris, you to do the work. I'm thinking more of, and maybe Denise and I can, as the president and vice president, can find time to map out a time frame. But there are about 80, give or take. I started to count them, but they're all numbered by section. Different action steps. You saw the ones that I had up there for the Economic Development Commission. There are about 80 different action steps that have primary responsibility assigned to somebody or some entity. Sometimes it's a board or commission. Occasionally it's a board or commission with a staff person or another board or commission. Sometimes it's a staff, an administrator of some sort. So a department head, et cetera. And I don't know, maybe the various boards and commissions are looking at this and saying, okay, if maybe if we went to, and I'm just going to pick on one, and I have no idea. I just opened it up to page 136. It's natural and cultural resources, action item number 1. Continue an active program of land acquisition to protect open space and rural character. Town council must approve final action on all land acquisition, and open space conducts all activities required to prepare grant applications and administer funds. That's actually one that I think we can say we're doing, because I know, having been on the land trust, there was a lot of interaction with and collaboration with the Open Space Commission and DEM and other partners to identify land to be purchased and or easements to be purchased, and to obtain the fiscal resources. The second one is one, I have no idea. They may have done it right away and it might be sitting somewhere. Action number 2 for that, identify and develop an awareness and appreciation of elements of the town's rural character, such as farms, barns, open fields, stone walls, mature trees. I'm not sure how you identify all the mature trees, sorry, but tree rows and tree
commission might.
neighborhoods. I have plenty of mature trees, some of which I get worried about in these windstorms we've been having. So that falls to the Conservation Commission and the town planner to do all that documentation. That may be done, I don't know, but it is part of our comprehensive plan.
I do
And
remember
it-
the tree commission used to do it. John DePont, who used to be on the budget committee years ago. We used to tease him every year. There's a huge tree behind Tom's Market. And we used to tell him every year that somebody cut it down. And his face was so passionate. He would just be mortified. It was like, we started every year off with that. And every year we got him. But it was, so they did keep track of.
Yeah, they do.
Many notable trees in the community.
They do.
And it may be, we go through this and 90% of the stuff is either
So it may be.
accomplished or on the way.
So maybe something, I'll just send out a correspondence to all the boards and commissions to see if they can give us an update as to where they think they are with the comprehensive plan. To give us a bullet list of things that we know that have been completed or in process and things that haven't been done from their perspective.
No, I think that's great. We'll have to look at our own pieces because we have some pieces in
Yeah,
in there as well.
So I'll start that as the first part of this, and then we can have a meeting with them as we move along.
That sounds great.
All
It
right.
might be a good way to get them to all read the comprehensive plan a little bit too, which is a little burdensome.
Well, it's long, but if it's particular to your particular agency, it's not as long as you think it is.
No, it's not.
And actually, I would, after looking through some of it, I'd start with that section that puts out the action steps, and then you can refer back for more detail.
All right.
Thank you for indulging me tonight, because I know I took over the agenda in many respects. So I appreciate that.
I called it
Yeah,
the
you can't-
Council of Burke's agenda when we were making it.
Sarcastically.
Yeah.
Mike, you're banned now for the next 4 meetings.
No, Mike, thank you very much. It was a lot of work, and thank you very much.
Oh,
And
sure.
very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilor Cook, update to Town Council regarding Tiverton Coastline, CRMC 2021-02-054 shellfish lease proposal at Sepauwett Point.
I also sent out to the council the full, I think it's 20 pages of the of that petition, which had a lot more information in it. I just wanted, there's really, as far as the town goes or council knows, I think everyone's aware that literally can't have any say, actually. So it's the CRMC that approves this type of industry. We can call it our coastline and our waters, but it's not really ours. And I just thought you should be aware of what was coming down the pike. And once these things are in the water, these type of buoy things, you can't traverse them. It takes up large tracts of waterway. And you can't like launch a boat off somewhere. So I just thought you should be aware of it. I put out as much information as I could. We do have a Mr. David Rose that did email me, and I put that in here. And from what I understand, he's put in a complaint. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. There seems to be some confusion as to where the area is. It's hard to read the maps, actually. I was at the meeting for the harbor meeting, and it was, for me, it was hard then to figure out you know, what this area was. But there seems to be where they're talking about wildlife refuge area. And it's not near there at all. So I don't know why there would be any discussion about it being near that area. So that's what it's about. I just wanted the council to know what was going on. There'll probably be more.
All right. Any questions from the council? I'll do Jay, then Bill. Go ahead, Jay.
Not a question, I'll just make a comment. I've had quite a long conversation with David Rose. And when he filed his, not complaint, but let's say his rebuttal, like 2 days before the drop dead date for public comment, because he, like many others, didn't know exactly where this was, how big it was going to be, or any of the details. And he sent me a whole bunch of paperwork about what the CRMC can and can't do. And it turns out that the state legislature has also sort of established more restrictive guidelines on aquaculture for the CRMC, which apparently in a lot of cases they're in violation of. I've also looked up and seen some pictures of what this installation is going to really look like. And my analogy is it couldn't be worse if it was a beached whale on Spouted Point. These things aren't only ugly, they're extremely ugly. And people go to Sepauwett Point for the view or to use the water, the shoreline. And this installation will absolutely destroy that. Now, can we do anything about it? I don't know. I keep on being told we can't, but I find that a little difficult to believe. There's got to be something. And this particular installation, or any of them, they're really not going to benefit the town of Tiverton. They're going to become a nuisance for us. We can't tax them. They're not going to give us much employment, but they're going to be there off of our coastline. So I guess I could say I'm not just opposed to these things. I'm very opposed to it. But what can I do about it? I don't know yet.
Bill?
I just want to add that the CRMC, they do work closely with our Harbor Commission. The decisions that they make, they take under consideration. I think Donna can attest to that. I mean, there's a lot of them out there right now, a lot of oyster bars out there right now. Most of them you can't see unless you're out on a boat. And there are a lot of appealable rights too. I can't speak, I'm still learning. I can't speak specifically, but there are both sides appeal the issues. So there may be a point where there's too much. I'm not quite sure where we are with this. We could always, I can't speak to this specific issue. We could always invite the Harbor Commission to talk specifically at a future meeting if Donna wants to. Of course, I think she did it last year. So we could always invite the Harbor Commission over again to speak about a specific issue if we need to. Thank you.
Donna, the last time that we discussed this, did we have the Harbor Commission there?
The last time I had the.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I had Bruce come and speak to us, and then we had the CRMC director speak to us at a meeting, a couple of months ago. And we never had the MOU, so I don't know how much the MOU would have protected us, but that never. We were actually going to sit with Mike Marcello, myself, the CRM director at the time, and then in March to put MOU together for the town of Tiverton, so we could have some say. And it didn't happen because of the restrictions for the pandemic hit in March. So it just didn't happen. When we had the CRM director and before us, it was sort of a consensus. He felt we didn't need one. No, I felt we did, and it was sort of left like that. So now we have an industry coming to Tiverton that we have no say.
Mike Marcello, is there anything we can do?
Yeah, so I don't know where we are in this project, but we're probably, when we met with the CRMC, they do take the town's comments seriously. I know the Harbor Commission was very involved in some of the previous projects. I don't know if this is a preliminary, a request for preliminary permit or not. But they're always looking for the town's input with a letter or whatever we want to do. And I haven't seen this application other than what was attached to the agenda. So, but I think to say that they don't take into consideration the town's feelings is a little unfair, because when we did meet with them, they did take it very seriously. In fact, I think one of the projects, Donna, that we had concerns over was actually withdrawn based upon some of the concerns that the town had regarding the access to that property. So
In Nanaquacket, yeah.
I think they're actually willing to work with us. I just don't know if this was a preliminary proposal or not. I'm not sure where they are on this thing. I'll take a look at the paperwork that Donna submitted.
I can send it to you, Mike.
I must have got lost in my packet. I didn't really look at that carefully.
No,
I thought this was more an informational thing than anything else. So I'm sorry.
No.
I'll look at it again.
Maybe we should have another meeting with them to see what proposed projects they think is going to go forward.
Well, doesn't this have to be done within the public comment period?
Yeah, but they did meet with us separately too. No,
They did, and they also met with the Harbor Commission on these.
Yeah.
Just because there were actually in Nanaquacket Pond, there were two that were denied. There was one on the Scarlet River that was in a mooring field that was denied.
Yep.
And the one that was south of Sepauwett was moved, and it was prohibited from landing on the beach. So they did listen to everything the town had to say, and the Harbor Commission is well-versed in the town's concerns about zoning issues, creating commercial enterprises, and that these commercial entities have to use commercial dockage and commercial ramps. So while CRMC still has the right, they own the bottom of the waterways, they do work with the Harbor Commission to make sure that they're not impacting multiple recreational uses or commercial fishing uses. So they may permit something even on a test basis. But my understanding is that they do take the input from the Harbor Commission first, and then they have a hearing some days later. So I don't know if the first hearing was with the Harbor Commission, and if there's still a public comment period at CRMC that still needs to be vetted. But the town's viewpoint has been well heard through CRMC to not impact our local zoning and commercial aspects of running a commerce off the beachheads. So they did hear that loud and clear, and they were very well receptive to that. So I don't know what this one is. This is the first I've seen of it as well, but I can reach out to, and I'm sure the Harbor Commission is well aware of it, but I'll reach out to the Harbor Commission and see where it stands from here.
Okay. Donna, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, the Harbor Commission that night approved whatever the plans were. And I just thought that council should know exactly what it was.
Good.
So if anyone needs any more information, there's it's always a good idea to have people, talk to us about it, the CRMC director or Bruce, even Michael looking into, what this means to us, but I just wanted everyone to be aware of what was happening.
Okay,
Denise,
yes, no, Yes, Bill.
as you might remember, they did want to come before us to talk about the all-encompassing global warming and the effect that it'll eventually have on Tiverton. I've been kind of putting them off until after the budget season. So we could make numerous topics on a particular night regarding the growth of off-sea oyster bars and everything else and that. So I just kind of been putting them off a little bit while we dealt with the budget, and I was planning on maybe a June, but I don't know what the deadline is, Donna, for this particular action. We could always move it up.
All right, Mike, if you look further into it, and then maybe we could get it on an agenda at a time that's the most appropriate. Let's see how far this has gone and what the next step is.
Will do.
All right, and Bill, I wrote a little note to myself that that's going to be on a future agenda, so we'll talk about it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Donna. Discussion and possible vote on request to advertise an amendment to Code of Ordinance, Chapter 67, Flood Plan Management Program, Section 67.2, 67.4 for public hearing on June. What?
I could, everything was frozen for quite a
Oh, all
while.
right. For public hearing on June 14th, 2021. Donna, you seem to be having the most problems tonight down in your area.
Yeah, nothing I can do about it. It's
Okay,
just frustrating.
Chris, who's here to speak about?
I know Joan's done some work on this, but this is very similar to what we did last year. There's every year the FEMA puts out the national floodplains that change. We have to adopt new maps. We have to, have a public hearing on it so the constituents will know which maps affect their particular properties. Joan's actually done some of the work to ensure that this amendment is recent. It's vital. It needs to be done. We are a little bit ahead of the curve this year. Last year, we were forced into doing it twice, once to do it and once to reverse it because some people on Cape Cod didn't do it.
Yeah.
So we're hoping everybody gets their act together this year and we can have the public hearing and get it off our platter. So Joan, I don't know if you have anything more to add to it, but.
No, this is just to put it out for advertisement. It's actually doing two sections. The section 67.2 are the panel updates. So the panel numbers have been updated. They have been verified. And then section 67-4, this is where they wanted one sentence added so that if there are any changes to any technical or scientific data, they want to know about it. The FEMA wants to know about it. So that's at their request to have that in the ordinance.
Okay, so we need a motion to advertise for a hearing. Is that correct? On
Yep.
June 14th, 2021.
Right.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Edwards, second by Councilor Burke. All those in favor, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Viera,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Moving on, DPW Director, I see he's with us. Request permission to award contract for specified recreation facility and turf management service.
Yeah, yes, Denise, I do request as DPW to award the contract to GS Lawn and Garden They did come in within the budgeted amount for this for this year. It is a calendar year contract versus a fiscal, so we probably have to transfer some money for this fiscal year just because of the timing of the contract going to a calendar year, and the previous award winner did have a continuation of the contract. But nonetheless, that we do have money in the budget for that from other turf management. So I do request the award to GS Lawn and Garden for the mowing services. The one item I would say, but nonetheless, we do have the right to waive minor irregularities. It does seem, not in the lawn mowing, but in the 5-ton roller rental rate, there does seem to be a misprint for that per day versus per hour. But that being considered, I do request the award.
With the amendment you just brought up.
Yes, and it's not, I'm not sure you need to make an amendment because those are optional services.
Okay.
The 5-ton roller rental rate.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
Madam President,
Yes.
while those are optional, I would certainly feel more comfortable amending it so that it reads per day,
Yeah.
if that's the accurate.
So could we approve it subject to change with the blessing of the town solicitor after we get the document back, that it's done correctly?
Yes.
Mike's okay with that, yeah.
Yeah, he's saying yes.
So
Okay,
I move approval of the to award the contract for specified recreational facility and turf management services to CS, is it CS or GS?
Yeah.
GS Lawn and Garden
Yep.
for the amounts identified in the bid sheet with the administrator and the solicitor working on that change.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Burke, second by Councilor Edwards. All those in favor, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Perry.
Madam President, I'd like to recuse from voting on this issue.
Okay. You'll have to sign a form with Joan.
Yep.
Okay.
Will do.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so motion passes 6 with Councilor Perry recusing himself.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Councilor
Rick.
Cook, consideration to amend Article 5, Section 502, Article 9, Section 901, Section 902, and Section 903, continued from 2/22/2021. Donna, I have to admit, this is partly my fault. I was supposed to get the resolution by the end of April to have a charter review committee. And I said that this would be one of the things they could look at. I do have the resolution. We've just had a lot on our plate and I have not done that yet. But we will do it for May and they'll look at these sections.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it
It's
needs
up
to
to
be
you.
done, so.
Yeah, it's up to, yeah, because we also want them to review the town referendum section also. Because there's some concerns that the clerk has had, administrators had, even the budget committee has had with some of the deadlines and some of the way that we do that and the expense of it also. When we only have one budget sometimes and we have to run an election. So this will be on the May one. When is that meeting? May? I don't know.
10th, I
Whatever.
believe, is the first May meeting.
Yeah. I don't know what the date is. I'm just wondering if I'm on
No, I
vacation.
believe it's the 10th. I believe it's the
Okay.
10th.
Okay,
Yeah, we have a special meeting on the 3rd and then the regular on the 10th.
because I probably won't be at the 24th meeting, so we'll do it the first meeting. Okay, we'll move on. Town administrator request authorization to purchase two Striker Lucas. I'm sorry, I'm reading the 3 with the 3 chest compression. I'm getting tired. System using council approved municipal capital account.
So we would be seeking to utilize the $30,000 that you authorized. We will find the $361.20 elsewhere in the budgets. Because it's what it is what it is. I just want to be open and honest with you. But this is a sole source bid. There's a sole source letter with this. This is the exact product that Bruce had asked for or the fire department had asked for in the last fiscal year that got delayed, that we took off the docket when we lost all the gaming money. Again, we took it off the docket for this year, and now that we've gone through the municipal capital, the council is at least receptive to buying the 2 that are in desperate need. It came in a little bit higher than what we thought, but I know that you've only authorized 30,000, and we will definitely do what we need to do to make sure we can acquire them both timely.
I mean, if worse comes to worse, we still have money in that municipal capital account. So.
Yeah, but we'll find the money. We just don't want to go over what you've authorized. I don't want to have to go back and revote everything all over again. It's
okay.
Madam President, we will take the 3 of them then that you.
If we can get 3 for that price, we're buying them.
You almost got the 3, Bruce. No.
Would have been nice.
All right, do I have a motion to authorize the fire chief to purchase 2 Striker Lucas 3 chest compression system using the council approved municipal capital account?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Wow, okay. I don't know who you're gonna give this to, Joan.
It's unanimous.
All right, we'll give it to Councilor Janik, and we'll give it to Councilor Edwards as a second.
No, Joe, leave it to Joe.
All right, Joe, we'll give it to Joe. I'm sorry, Joe, I always forget you.
That's okay.
Okay,
Everybody forgets me.
so motion's been made in second. All those in favor, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Janik.
Yes, for the 2 of them, huh?
Yeah,
Yep,
for
2 of them.
Yeah.
And,
Sorry, Bruce.
Sorry this took so long, Bruce.
And I'm a
Much
yes. so it's
appreciated, much
unanimous.
appreciated.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bruce.
everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, I see the tax assessor is here. Tax assessor Robert, update on reevaluation and budgetary requirements for FTR.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, Dave.
Hi. Yeah, just a quick update on the revaluation. Currently, they are performing informal hearings. They started those roughly last week. And to date, we have approximately 120 residents requesting hearings, which represents roughly 1.2% of all property. It's been kind of the standard average that when a community goes through a revaluation, approximately 4 to 5% contact the revaluation company to talk about their assessment. So we're running below that, but we have another couple of weeks to go. So once they finalize that informal hearing process, I will come back to the council and give you an update at that point in time.
Dave, I've been getting a few phone calls to my house this weekend with people very concerned on how their value is increased, and they were worried about their taxes. And I was trying to explain to them that the tax rate will be adjusted once we get all these evaluations finalized. Is that correct? So don't look at what your house is worth now and try to figure out what your taxes you're going to pay based on the tax rate last year.
Correct. And that's one of the things that I made sure that was stressed in the letter that was mailed out. The value is, the value, but yes, they should not be utilized in last year's tax rate to figure out what their tax increase may be, because the tax rate, for all intents and purposes, should definitely decrease.
Yeah, I think that, yes, you did have it in the letter, but I think the sticker shock really got people and they didn't read on. And I explained it to, I would say probably a dozen people on my phone this weekend, so.
Sure.
but I-
And that, Denise, that typically happens, once they do mail out the notices, you're exactly right. They just look at the number and then they just freeze at that point.
Yep, yeah. So I told them to read further, and I told them this happens every year, and there's a major panic, and then when people really see how it was adjusted, they feel better. So I just want anyone listening
Sure.
tonight to realize that.
Yep. And I know as part of the request to be on the agenda, there's some numbers for the budget, so you can utilize them when you do your calculations. I do want to update one of those numbers. I ran some of the calculations from the revaluation numbers, and where it states the FY22 net real estate intangible assessed values, that estimate that does not include the power plant on your sheet is 2.550. You can update that to 2,670,000,000.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Again, that's a redistribution, really. It's not new values. And I think that's one of the other things, Dave, that if you could, we talked this week a little bit about how much new growth the town has seen, really based on building permits and construction. You're looking maybe 25 to 30 new homes in the last year. So there's not a lot of new growth. This is just basically raw increase in value based on market value.
Correct. Generally, what we have been running every year as far as growth is just under 1%, excluding the year that the casino and the Longplex came online. But yeah, the majority obviously of this growth is the appreciation in the market. Yep. And that's the thing. In 2020, the real estate market was very, very strong. So the market value of your home, saw a strong appreciation.
Okay. Any other key numbers we should be focused on for the budget that we're trying to wrap up, at least the initial presentation of our tax rate? I know by the time we get to doing the FTR, these numbers will change somewhat. You'll have some fluctuations on your final calculations, but just moving forward for budget purposes and council when putting together their budget.
Chris, nope, that's the only one that I wanted to make sure was adjusted was the net value of the real estate intangibles. We're changing that again to 2,670,000,000.
Okay.
The other numbers for the motor vehicle and the average home value, those will remain the same.
Okay, great.
Okay, any questions from the council? Bill?
Just regarding the reevaluation, if Dave could just, were there any trends in regards to the increases? Waterfront homes, ranches, anything that stands out that can either alleviate people, relieve them? Was there a trend in Tiverton over the past year in regards to property evaluations and the increase? Just an overview, if you saw any trends. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Not necessarily any trends. Last revaluation, you definitely saw a strong ranch appreciation in value. This year, we still saw a little bit of that, but not as significant as last time around. Across the board, all residential properties have appreciated pretty strongly. Right now, we're looking at, and I hate throwing this number out there because people kind of say, well, my house is more than that. But overall, the assessments are ranging in increase anywhere from, say, 12%, depending on location, all the way up to 35%. So there's different pockets throughout town that have different rates of appreciation. One, it depends on location and it depends on style of homes. But as far as a trend about a specific area, not necessarily. Waterfront properties, it's always difficult to try to really nail in those values because you don't have a lot of transactions. So if you have, a ranch home in town, we have 200 sales. Waterfront properties, we might have 3 or 4, so they're a little bit more of a challenge. But across the board, like I said, we've seen increases anywhere from 12 to the high 30s.
Yeah, I think it's some of the high 30s that called me this weekend, to tell you the truth.
Generally, they will. And
Yeah.
again, in general, the residential real estate market has been stronger than the commercial market.
Yeah. All right, any other questions for Dave? Chris, you're all set too?
We're all set. Dave will be around for the executive session matter that, once you know your announcement.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you all.
Announcements, comments, and discussions, I'm sorry. Councilor DiMaderas, Casino Gaming Revenue Advisory Committee. Well, we've gone out to advertise. I was a little surprised because this seemed to be a really hot topic when we decided to do this, and we've had no volunteers.
You're kidding.
No. And which it takes a lot to surprise me nowadays, but there were a lot of people that were against us doing what we did. There was a lot of people afraid that it was only going to be for town, and nobody came forward. Now, I don't know if, I don't know why. So I'm announcing tonight that if anyone out there would like to join the Casino Revenue Advisory Committee, it's a very important committee. I really thought there was going to be a lot of interest in this. And this is also because of the phone calls I get to my house.
Me too.
And all of us, and no one has come forward. Also, if any counselors can think of anyone that may be interested in this and just wasn't aware that that the deadline was here. And I've been thinking of some people, and I know that Councilor Burke, during the agenda meeting, we were trying to get together some people that we could think of that would be interested. So,
And I'm sorry, Madam President.
No, go ahead, Mike.
I mentioned it to somebody last week who will consider it. The challenge is her daughter just announced her wedding date, and so she's going to be dealing with that, but it's a little further out, so it might be advantageous enough. She's going to get back to me.
I did contact two people and didn't get immediate take on it, but I think they're considering it also. But think of any past employees that worked with the budget before, maybe other budget people that were on the budget committee that have some knowledge of us. But if any of the counselors want to make some phone calls, and if they're interested, to please call the town clerk, and we'll try to get this committee together. But as of right now, we've had no takers.
And if we don't get any help, we're going to be on our own. I hope they realize that. They may not like the outcome.
Joe, how many are you asking?
Yeah, how many are going to be on this committee? How many seats are you looking at?
Well, first of
7,
all,
5?
how many volunteer? How many? There was town council, and now that we realize the budget committee cannot be on it per charter, they cannot be on any of
cannot be
it.
on it.
So it was school committee, and then 5, Joan. I think
You're on mute, Joan.
Was originally 4.
But then we thought 5 because an even number won't work.
Right.
I think I have a couple of people that might be interested.
All right. Well, maybe if we all put our heads together, and if anyone out there is listening, it is an important committee, and there was a lot of concerns about this money, and I have to tell you, I'm surprised that not one person came forward. Councilor Burke, update on interventions with Cox communication and constituent issues.
So I'll be very brief. I just wanted to let folks know, most of you know that I decided to reach out to the president of Cox and got a fairly quick response. And I reached out on behalf of myself as well as constituents, because while I try not to respond to Facebook posts, I do read them and saw a lot of activity. So they did assign their vice president for this region, who some of you may know as working with Tony DeSisto previously, Stephanie Federico. So Stephanie is the person overseeing this, and she's been very actively involved with it. I've had a slowdown this week, but we I sent her about 35 different names. And if anybody else, people can still send me their information. Basically I need the name on the account, contact person if it's different, either the account number or their phone number associated with the account, and a best contact phone number or email, and what their issue is, whether it's internet, cable, phone, all the above, and any little bit of details they can. And they've reached out to many of those. Well, they've reached out to everybody by now that was on that list. They've been able to intervene with many of them. They will go into the home as long as the person wants them in. So part of the challenge has been over the last year, a couple things. One is the significant increase in use of internet for remote learning, remote work, etc. Two is folks want things done, but they're not comfortable. They haven't been comfortable for the last year of having a tech come into the home. And I know there was a point where Cox wasn't having techs coming in the home too. So that's been part of it. They also have been in the process, and she had indicated that there were, I want to say, 6 what they call nodes. And I'm going to get out in the end of the limb here in terms of my technical knowledge. But a node is basically a hub for neighborhoods, and they watch the capacity of that. Once it starts hitting 80%, they really watch it. And when it hits 90%, they split it off. So there were 6 nodes that they had planned over the next 4 months or so to split off to reduce the traffic on them. They intend to have all those done by the end of May now in Tiverton, that is. I think she said we have either 13 or 16 nodes. Many of them had already been updated. But when they update a node, then there's kind of a backward effect in terms of they may have to update, fix some things on other poles. They may have to go in people's homes. They came into my home, and I had upgraded the panoramic last fall and really didn't see the results. They showed me one thing that was interfering, and I've moved that piece of equipment, and now I have better cell phone coverage and better internet coverage. So it was interfering with my line. They tightened some things. They put some new connecting points on that are better for digital. But I think they're being responsive. Do I think that everybody's going to be happy? Certainly, Donna, if you want me to give them your information, let me know. And Deb, I know you ran into some issues tonight. Nothing's, just like when you buy a car and you take it home, oh, my wonderful new car. Oh, I wish this was different. I wish that was different. And it doesn't run as best as what, so there are always things that will happen with any technology. I would like to have them come before us at the second meeting in May to really give a better presentation of what they have done and what they want to be able to do to collaborate with us as a town and address the needs of our folks. So that's my update.
Thank you, Mike. It'll be, will Stephanie be coming to the meeting?
Yes.
Oh,
Stephanie and probably Steve Iannazzi, who works for Stephanie and is their legislative coordinator for Rhode Island, and maybe I think Massachusetts. I'm not sure.
Well, I'll be happy to see Stephanie again. Councilor Burke, information on rent relief Rhode Island program.
So I don't know if I put a link to this, if I sent a link to this, but if folks, so this is a program that is being funded through some of the COVID relief money, some of the more recent American Rescue Act money. I want to say it's about $200 million, but it's for renters and landlords, for people who are either at risk of losing their home because they can't pay their rent or have some back bills to pay or need it to get into a home. There's some income guidelines, I think, and the like, but all you have to do is, I just want to make sure people were aware of this. If you go to Rhode Island Housing, that didn't come up, come on. Here we go. If you go to rihousing.com, it will, first of all, it's going to pop up with our COVID warning, but right on there, so you get a pop-up box, and right on that pop-up box, it's going to say now open rent relief Rhode Island. You click there, It's a really simple process. I work with the folks every day who are managing this. They want people to apply. And again, it's for both landlords. There's some links there for landlords to look at. There's links there for individuals to look at. And you have to provide proof of residency, proof of income, copy of a lease agreement or documentation showing tenancy, documentation demonstrating rental utility arrearage, those types of things. That's all on the website. If there are folks in Tiverton who need this help, please go to Rhode-IslandHousing.com and look for the Rent Relief Rhode Island. You're on mute, Denise.
Sorry, my dog was barking. I put myself on mute. Town clerk reminder, ethics training is tomorrow, April 27th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Do we have, who will be, I am not going to be able to attend this.
I'll be there.
Do we have a quorum? Bill, you're
I'll be here.
going.
I'll be
Jay,
here.
Deb's going. Donna, Jay.
I plan to go in, but a quorum shouldn't be a problem, should it?
No,
It's just a meeting, so you don't really need a quorum.
Yes.
are you sure it's a special meeting? I thought we still needed 4 of us there.
I don't think so.
No,
Okay.
we wanted it for all the boards and commissions, anybody who's department heads, anybody who makes decisions to be before the ethics commission to get training.
Right.
So
It was advertised as a workshop, right?
Yes, yes.
And it's not our workshop,
Yeah, it is.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I looked at the agenda this morning because I don't believe I'm going to be able to make it. Oh, and also to another announcement for the council tomorrow, the negotiation team, Donna, me, Jay, Chris, and Attorney Kabasa is meeting with the police union tomorrow and starting negotiations. Okay.
Can I
Madam
just-
Chairman, before you go any further, senior center.
Oh, yeah, and I wrote it and I didn't go back.
My suggestion is we table it to the next meeting until I can get here before you, because both Bruce and I both tried to get a hold of her a couple of times and I didn't get any response back, so
Okay.
table the item to the next meeting, please.
Do I need a motion? Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Deb?
Second,
Okay. So motion's been made in second. All those in favor, Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
yes.
Councilor Perry.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Can I
sorry
just
if I interrupted you, Deb.
No, I just had a question, and I apologize if I've already gotten this email, but I'm a little slow on my emails this week. What time are we meeting on Wednesday?
6 o'clock.
6, okay.
I'll be there.
I will not.
I'll
Yeah,
be there
Mike
too.
will. Okay.
I'll be there.
All right. So now I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed executive session. Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 4246582, collective bargaining IBPO.
So moved.
Second,
Motion
Yes.
is made and second. All those in favor, Council Burke,
yes.
Council Vieira,
Yes.
Council Edwards,
Yes.
Council Cook,
Yes.
Councilor Janik,
Yes.
Councilor Perry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session. Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 4246581, discussion related to job performance, character, physical or mental health of a person related a current employee in building planning. Notice given.
So moved. Second,
Motion's been made by Councilor Perry, second by Councilor Burke. All those in favor, Councilor Burke,
yes.
Councilor Vieira,
Yes.
Councilor Edwards,
Yes.
Councilor Cook,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. I'd like to entertain motion to go into closed executive session, town administrator, litigation, Rhode Island General Law 42, 46, 582, closed session related potential litigation regarding the reevaluation, appraisal of the Tiverton Power Plant, Via Power LLC.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Perry, second by Counselor Burke. All those in favor, Counselor Burke?
You have a question from Chris. Do you want to take
Yes,
that
Chris.
first?
So can we take these in reverse order when you
Yes.
finally do the vote so
Oh.
that Dave can stay and then we can work through the other two and let Dave go?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So Counselor
Yes.
Burke, Counselor Vieira,
Yes.
who am I missing? Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
Yes.
Counselor Janik, Counselor Cook,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
Yes.
Counselor Perry.
Yes.
Mike, in executive session, do you want to make the announcement?
No, there are the items on the agenda were the items that were discussed. No formal votes were taken on any of the items.
Thank you. Like to entertain a motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the Mike Burke show tonight, please.
Yes, yes. The ever-ready batter, the ever-ready bunny.
Motion's been made by Counselor Perry, seconded by Counselor Vieira. All those in favor, Counselor Burke,
Yes.
Counselor Vieira,
Yes.
Counselor Edwards,
Yes.
Counselor Cook,
Yes.
Counselor Janik,
Yes.
Counselor Perry,
Yes.